Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Today
Hi.
we're looking
Today
for the gold.
we're looking for
For
the
the
gold.
golden land. Maybe.
For the golden land.
Why you copied me?
Maybe. I don't know. Into cells intertwined. Into cells intertwined. I don't know. That just happened.
Whatever. By the way, hello, it's me, I'm Picture. This one up here is a certain hole that I found out my window.
It's your fault. You left it open.
Listen.
And I saw Umineko inside, so I went in.
Oh, okay, I see. Listen, it was warm. I wanted to get some hair, okay? So I left the window open with the game on. She saw the game and she said, "Oh, what is this?"
Ooh, what is this?
Yes, that was intended. Actually, that was intended.
It was a trap.
Yes.
I fell for it immediately.
Yes. How to trap Ofi? Put a Umineko on a trap. Any kind of trap.
Any kind of trap. Any soundtrack. Play any soundtrack. And I'm going to come and try to find out what that is. Hi.
Okay.
So, last time in Umineko. Shit is about to go down.
She kind of went down because, well, we got a letter from a witch that no one's believing that it's real at this point, but I wonder if it's very real. It's not like it's in the cover of the game, but whatever.
No, well, whatever. Let's just say that this witch is a phantomatic witch.
Yes.
An hypothetical witch.
Honestly, I thought we would have seen Beatrice last time, but apparently she doesn't want to get seen that much.
Nope.
So
nope.
Yeah. After the letter,
I
thought she was gonna appear in a very theatrical way, but apparently not.
You know that VIPs like to be waited for.
Oh yes. Fancy late, how they say, you know.
Yes.
So, Maria read the letter in a very strange way that the problem is gonna have an explanation, because I feel like this game is gonna explain even the little useless things. I don't know, I have this feeling, probably. Since the way, since the writing it is how it is, I feel like it's gonna be a lot of explanation for everything, basically. What else happened? No one believed that. Umbrella thingy, because Gibetisha gave her an umbrella. What else? Nothing else?
Wait. We stopped. Oh, right. I remember where we stopped because I told you to stop there. Right. Yeah, basically everyone questioned Maria. Maria was upset. Jessica got even more upset at her parents. George tried to calm her down, and then Butler was alone. Kyrie went to Butler, and they had a whole conversation.
Oh yeah, there was that. I forgot about that. Yes.
The chessboard around.
Yes.
And then at the end of the conversation, basically Kyrie said Beatrice was supposed to be one of them, the people who are part of the family.
She was basically
the
saying it's not possible there's someone else on the island.
Exactly.
So it's definitely some of us playing
one of us
a part, basically.
Yes.
And that's why
Rudolph,
she's not she wasn't appearing in open in front of everyone.
Yeah. Yes. And then Rudolph came and said, probably tonight I'm gonna be killed.
Oh yeah, about that.
Yeah. About that. And then he and Kyrie went.
Honestly, it's believable that at least one of the siblings is gonna get killed, because since the how could you say that the the fraternal bond is not as one would
Yeah.
imagine.
Yes. Their bonds are basically rotten to the core.
Yeah, it's like it's a race to the one that gets the money, basically. So
Yes.
one less of them, more money for me.
Yeah. We've seen how heated they can get. So this kind of reasoning is not too unbelievable, I think.
Yeah, so it could definitely be. I guess we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In all of these,
Mm-hmm.
we can start.
Yeah.
And if I'm right, there's a Natsuhi in the alleyway.
In the hallway. Oh yeah, could be. Let the trauma and the following PTSD begin. Yes. There we go. Natsuki could be found in a dimly lit hallway. Now and then the thunder would crash, but this had no effect on Natsuki's expression. She looked completely worn out. Honestly, understandable.
Understandable.
Yeah. The discussion that just taken place between relatives and Daniel was repeating itself inside Natsuki's mind. Beatrice had proclaimed, in addition to the gold, all the inheritance and property of the Ushinomiya family would be given to the person who could solve the riddle. Yeah, so basically, haha, you don't get any money. In other words,
Everything.
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 Yes, everything. And that will make sense on the thing that Kinzo said also, because he said, yeah, you can take everything. My sons are used rotten to the
Yeah.
core. The grandchildren
Basically,
doesn't care at all about the money, so
yeah. Everything that has spawned from the gold.
yeah, everything.
Everything.
Wait. Uh if it is everything that has spawned from the gold, does the children counts? Because they
Mm-hmm.
kinda were spawned from the gold.
Mm-hmm.
Since without the gold, I don't think any of that would have happened.
If you think about it, Kinzo talked about a roulette, right?
Yeah.
And 18 spawns, basically.
Yeah.
18 people between Beatrice could choose. Of course, Kinzo is one of them. So, if we say that he gave everything back to Beatrice,
It would
all
also
of
be
them
them.
count.
Yeah. It
All
makes
of them
sense.
count.
The only one that wouldn't count would be himself, because it's like it doesn't depend on the pack. The person.
I would say it does, because he is the one who actually made the pact with Beatrice. Also, by putting himself into danger willingly, is giving more power to the miracle he wants to achieve.
Yeah, okay. I
So
see.
if he were to stay outside of this,
So it's basically
the
not.
miracle wouldn't happen in his
Yeah,
mind.
I understand. It's not like a contract, in quotes. Like they say, I give you these, and then in return, you give me that, and then in return, I will give you everything back, and all that's spawned from that. It's more of a magic thingy. I understand.
Yeah. Yes. We know at this point that Kinzo is not completely in his right mind.
Yeah, I mean, we notice, and also he's gonna die, so what the hell he cares? I mean, at that point, he's like, I'm gonna die. I don't care about anything, so
Mm,
whatever.
mm, yep. It could be that.
Originally, others simply had absolutely no chance to inherit the headship. Then, this proposal by Beatrice was extremely desirable. It was obvious that they would accept it. There was no need to play some clumsy detective game. Natsui knew that this so-called 19th person, Beatrice, couldn't exist. Naturally, Beatrice was nothing more than a fictional character used to pass a message the king had written himself. That would also make sense. Seen from their point of view, that would make sense. As proof, Kinza remains somewhat neutral as to that letter's authenticity, or maybe he knows, or whatever. He's completely ignoring the reckless claims that he shouldn't be able to ignore, that they are giving up the red ring. In short, Kinzo had wordlessly admitted that the letter is his own message. That, I mean, it kinda is his own message to them, in a way, if you think about it. Because that is basically saying, you're not getting any money from me.
Yeah. I think if we're going to say that the narrative that Beatrice is real, this is his message. He was aware from the beginning that this would happen.
Yes,
So
but
it just plays in his favor that none of his children will inherit anything.
Yes, but even if you follow the narrative that the witch is real, it would also be his message, because he's saying none of you are worthy of the money, in a way.
Only Beatrice is.
Only Beatrice is, yes.
Until you prove yourself worthy by solving the epitaph.
Yeah. That's basically what he's saying. In any case, he's saying you're not worthy of the money.
It's a giant fuck you.
Yes, basically, if they opened the letter and there was like a very detailed middle finger of Kinzo's hand, it would have been the same thing.
Yep.
Kinzo probably worked out an elaborate plan where the dress from the portrait would be prepared. And someone, probably Shannon, would be... Can you imagine Shannon playing the evil witch? No one would believe that. Would be made to wear it and deliver the letter and the umbrella. By doing that, it could make it seem like the wish from the portrait actually existed. Also, it's basically Shannon in cosplay. I see. No, if anything, that alone was proof that Kinzo was behind all this. That case, it was the same as Kinzo trying to butt in on the sibling private discussion. And Kinzo announced he'd give everything to the person who solved the riddle with a weakened cross-overwhelming advantage. Now it was certain. Kinzo eavesdropped on the sibling discussion in the parlor area that day. I mean, he doesn't even need to eavesdrop. He got servants that basically can tell him whatever is happening over there. So he had known Kraus had staved off the attack by the other three. To make the scale of the battle go back into balance, he had sent out this strange letter, which benefited Kraus' rivals. He was trying to push this crazy theory so that Rosa, who had a weak position amongst the siblings because of her rage, would join with Eva and Rudolph. Yeah. Rudolfo. Then with a 3-1 advantage, they'd be able to overrun Kraus yet again and make the discussion theories get accepted by force. By doing that, it gave him the power to resettle what had once been an early decided conflict. He had now started repeatedly pressing Kraus to pay them a larger... Okay, again, all the things that happened. With the condition that all the team would guarantee Kraus' position as successor. Okay, so basically saying, yeah, we're all the same. Talk about advance payment. And despite it being rejected once. Yes, okay. Now the discussion is open again, basically. Even without the story about the hidden gold, the Yushimiya family store was store of wealth was vast. That store of wealth was more than enough. Even if the hidden gold was buried forever, along with Kinzo's death, there would be more than enough to satisfy. Therefore, even if they weren't that interested in the gold itself, Kinzo's managed to instill the lifelong fear that on the off chance that someone found the gold, the person would be granted the headship. And this kind of Achilles heel would definitely be taken advantage of by someone sooner or later. The only person with fatal weakness was the successor, Kraus. The only simile that had found No, they have been... Oh, the others seemingly had found... No, they had been told by Kinzo, but something only Kraus could lose, and they had truly taken advantage to that. Natsui, as Kraus' only ally in his peaceful position as his wife, wanted to fight alongside with him. She kept trying to explain to him that the existence of the gold itself was a farce and there was no need for him to compromise. Kraus had always told Natsuhi. He told all of the siblings that the hidden gold was nothing more than... Does he know something?
Who knows?
Therefore, Natsuhi had believed it as his wife, that supported her husband on that foundation. Even so, Natsuhi's word didn't reach Kraus. Even though Natsuhi had fought so hard and had lent all of her strength, he continued to fight by himself, was trying to compromise with the other three siblings. I think he knows something. Because if you're so sure, and you were so sure until earlier, why trying to compromise at this point? Nasoi sadly and weakly wondered why she could not be of use to him, and then started getting angry. That happened when everyone decided to take a short break to cool their heads. Matsui had flared up against Kraus. Enraged, she asked why she could not be useful to him. He had told them that he wanted to talk about something, and invited her into a room that she was normally not allowed to enter. Okay, and what's in that room? Sealed with an heavy-looking padlock, and just looking at it gave her an uncomfortable feeling. Someone getting killed here?
他の3人の言うことも、ベアトリーチェを名乗る不審人物の言うことも、何も気にかけることはありません。
And from her point of view, this thing makes sense. Okay.
Yes.
黄金など所詮はお父様が生み出したまやかし。
Yes, exactly.
それを見つけられることなどあるわけがない。あなたが跡継ぎであることは盤石です。何を恐れることがあるのです。
Good question. This is a good question.
It's the same one you asked yourself before.
Yes, exactly. He then mentioned for Nasui to enter. Is this an insonorized room, and that's why they want to talk there so no one can spy on them?
何ですか?
Okay, no, maybe not. Oh, he knows something. He knows something. Natsui timidly opened
Honestly,
the door.
when you asked, I had forgotten about this for a second, but I know.
Natsui timidly opened the door with a dubious expression on her face. It was pitch black. She searched for a switch to turn on the light, but since this was her first time in the room, she didn't know where it was. Kraus entered behind her, pushing her in, and when he closed the door before turning on the light, the two were swallowed up by the darkness. Only the sound of Kraus locking the door rang out through the dark.
これは何事ですか? 明かりは?
今つける。待ちたまえ。
Just as he said when Kraus pushed that switch on the wall, a flickering light turned on and lit up the room.
それは?
Nasui had her breath taken away. The room had no windows, and at a glance it appeared to be empty. In the middle of the room, a small round table had been set, and the light brightened only that table, as if it were the leading part in a play. Oh, kind of like a reflector. Top of the table, a red tablecloth of elaborate design had been set out, covered with dust. And on top of that, something... Or you're not gonna tell... I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Something about the size of a grown man's arm had been set down. Something took Natsubi. Oh, what the fuck? Oh!
There we go.
Oh!
同じ純度を持つ黄金のインゴットだよ。こいつがなければ誰も黄金伝説を信じはしなかった。
So there is proof of the gold. Okay. This. Okay, I feel like this was probably not hidden before Kraus hit the thing.
New soundtrack, I think, also.
Yes. Yes. This is new. Was an ingot of solid gold. Even in the faint light, it sparkled with a noble and dignified glint.
こいつはまともなインゴットじゃない。このインゴットを鋳造したのが国内なのか国外なの
Also,
か。
as I said already, gold is not usually very pure because it would be malleable. You could bend it with your hands.
You told that, yes.
Took a high level of skill to make the purest of solid gold ingots, and in order to verify the purity, it was standard to have the regional foundry and the name of the bank that guaranteed it imprinted on the gold. But that was the bird thing. However, this ingot did not have that kind of seal. This mysterious gold bar had come from an unknown foundry.
ここを見たまえ、怯えることはない。こいつはただの気のいだ。
Natsui, following Kraus' sword, timidly approached the ingot.
そこだ。
Kraus pointed at the surface on the ingot. Natsui concentrated on that section. See? That's the bird. It's no bank.
Yep.
Right there was the thin imprint of the one-winged eagle crest. Natsui's breath was taken away.
I heard.
Yes, I was gonna say. I was gonna say the wrong thing. You know what I was gonna say. You know what I was gonna say. Because my brain, because my brain is wired like that. Okay, I cannot say one wing and not think about that. Okay. Something wrong.
I hear your struggle. I feel it in my soul.
And do you think it happened once? It happened every fucking time. And I have to focus very much not to say that.
No, this is completely normal. Please continue.
By the way, one-winged angel.
そうだよ。
Bird, one wing.
I know. This time I said it on purpose. Okay.
保証人のマルソーの会長に任意で一つを抜き取らせて持ち帰らせ。
Oh, this is from the story they said at the beginning.
Yes.
The president of the witness president, who is also someone important, and they had no real reason to lie about this. Yes.
財界のフィクサーたちを信用させたという。方々に手を尽くして私が見つけた。
So this is that bar of gold?
It's that one.
他の兄弟たちより早くね。
そんな、じゃあお父様の黄金伝説は。
Yep.
実在する。後ろ宮金蔵が授けられたベアトリーチェの黄金は実在するのだよ。
Yep.
そんな本当にあるなんて。
Natsui was shocked. Kraus had always said that Kinza's gold was just a fabrication, so she had believed it as his wife. However, the reality was different. Since he had definite proof, he had been more certain than any of the other siblings that the legend of the gold was true. Because of this, Kraus was deeply frightened at the possibility that someone other than himself would find the gold it failed to find, costing him everything. But to Natsui, this truth was more than enough to split open her heart. She had thought that as Kraus' wife, she should be his closest confidant, which was why she had selflessly supported him. And yet, Yeah, this fact from her until today. I have a question though. Okay, from this lady, I would like to be pointed. This lady saw a room that is completely locked and not even ask what's inside with like a huge pad. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I could see it as part of Natsuhi's character that she would not question.
Could be.
Because
Wait though. Now that I think about it, there's probably
mm,
more than one room she cannot enter because of
yeah,
Kinzo. So maybe
yeah,
this could be
exactly.
normal. Yeah, this could make sense.
Yeah. I think there are several rooms that are like
There's
closed off
there's
for
probably some
reasons.
rooms that only Kinzos can enter or stuff like
Mm,
that.
mm-mm.
It would make sense. By the way, this fight didn't premiere until today. Why?
Why?
そこ
Why?
までに私はあなたの
For
信頼に
Natsuhi.
足りないというの
I
です
mean,
か
she feel betrayed, and I can understand.
そういうつもりはない。話す必要がなかっただけだ。
Still,
あなたにとっては妻はその程度のものなのですか？
落ち着きたまえ。劇場にすぐ駆られるのは君の悪い癖だ。
あなたがそうさせてるんじゃないですか？
okay, now slapping.
私は
At this
後ろに
point.
に嫁ぎ、今日まであなたの妻として仕えてきました。あなたのために生まれた家を捨て、身も心も捧げてお仕えしてきました。その報いがこれなんですか？そんなことって。
Kraus grimaced, looking annoyed. His expression emphatically communicated how much he disliked this part of Natsui if he didn't say it out loud.
私はもうあなたの力になれそうもありません。
Damn.
うん。それでいい。兄弟のトラブルは私が自分の力で解決する。君の力は借りるよ。
Thrown
Kraus.
away as a used tool. Okay.
House.
違います。
Oops.
これは後宮家のトラブルです。確かに私にはこの身に家紋を刻むことが許されていません。でもあなたの妻です。なのに私には力添えする資格もないのですか？
Well, he kinda said that, so.
君を思えばこそ、あえて関わらせん。これ以上は頭痛に触るだろう。君は今夜はこれで休みたまえ。兄弟の話は兄弟でつける。君は関係ない。それだけだ。
Damn. Okay. Abdul had a
So,
tormentor
this happened.
Natsui. Yeah, I mean, so this is the biggest screw you that could ever be given to her. Hi, Hila. So basically, she dedicated their entire life to the house, the family, etc. And then he arrived and said, "You know what? Yeah, you did enough. Bye." Something like that. Yeah,
I am
they said,
going
you
to say
did enough. Yeah, you can
I'm going
rest.
to say that maybe I have too much faith in humanity. I know that Kraus is an absolute piece of garbage, as everyone else in that house, but I still want to believe that he actually believed. Okay, I don't want your health to get worse because of this. Please step away. but this is definitely the wrong timing,
I
the
don't.
wrong
I
way to
mean,
say it.
you wouldn't say it in a. You wouldn't say that in a complete different way if that was the case. Number one,
Yeah.
and number two, he didn't trust her with the goal, with the secret. So I don't know
But why now?
why now.
If he didn't completely trust her, why right now at this point when the secret is basically out?
That's why, because the secret is out already at this point.
So he didn't care.
So I didn't care. Yeah.
Understandable.
So it's
Okay.
like, at this point, it's like everyone will know. If he doesn't know already, he will know in like a couple minutes. So I can tell you that this thing is real.
Okay.
The thing is, if I was her, in her place, I would have tried to take the gold for me and giving a big middle finger in the end, but I don't know.
Where would you have gone? You're basically isolated from the entire world right now.
They can try to solve the riddle though. Right
Yeah.
now.
That
That's
you could
what I
do.
that's what I
Yeah.
would have that's what I would do in this case. If I was her, I would try to solve the riddle.
Okay.
For myself.
Not for the
Not for
family, of
him.
course.
Not for him, for
Yeah.
myself.
Understandable.
No matter what medicine she took, no matter what scent she burned, it wouldn't heal. I mean, I can understand. It's probably getting an ulcer at this point. By simply wandering alone through the dark corridors and listening to the sound of rain seemed to be a better cure. I may be Natsuhi, but I was never Ushio. Oh, now it's her thinking, whatever. Ushiomi and Natsuhi. I've been despised and treated as a borrowed womb. And insulted when I couldn't even feel that. Oh, God damn it. Oh yeah, that was the problem with the firstborn. Yes, remember that. Even so, I have tried to properly perform my duties as his wife. But now even my husband has rejected me. I've done my best raising my daughter as if it were the last job left to me. However, I've no release for my anger and sadness, and they've caused me to subconsciously strain that relationship too. Because
She realizes this.
Yeah, because I've been excessively strict in Jessica's education, she disliked me truly. She despised me for having no interest in anything but grades. There's no longer anything I can do for the Shirimiya family. No, that's not good. Despite it all, must help my husband. For real? Okay. And beat by the scheme of the other talk about Stockholm syndrome here. Okay. The family head won't be around much longer. Eventually Klaus will succeed the head. And the next successor will be Jessica. Strictly speaking, the man who enters the family by marrying Jessica will become the next head. But it all comes to the same thing. How to make Jessica an excellent successor, whom everyone will accept as worthy to take over the Shiromiya family. In the days to come, the greedy Shiromiya Eva will probably plotting to find some fault with the main family. And if all goes as she plans, Jessica will be dragged down from the succession with George set up in her place. I mean, she already has the perfect son.
Yes.
It is regrettable, but George is a man, and even more as mature as a person.
He's even older than Jessica.
Yeah, because Jessica was born later.
Yeah.
But Jessica was right in the middle of a rebellious period and was graded slightly below average. It can be seen at glance with more feet to succeed the ad. So in order to secure Jessica's position, I need to turn her into an excellent person. After doing that, I want to find her an excellent husband, worthy of the excellent person she will have become. Yes. A wonderful man who will truly accept Jessica and stay with her through all of life's joys and sorrow. Wasn't that Sui trying to entrust her daughter with fulfilling some desire of their own? That's exactly what I was thinking, you know?
Yes.
Sui thought back to the days when she had no choice but to marry into the Shinomiya family because of that unavoidable fate. She tried to blot that from her memory. She consciously forgotten it, and had actively attended to the life she'd been given as Shinomiya Natsuhi. And in doing so, she had built a new life. But just now, I feel like all of that had been casually rejected.
何を考えて生きていけばいいのかわからない
Sui helplessly rested her head against the glass of the window. The glass, which was cool thanks to raindrops beating against it, felt somehow refreshing. Even though it should have been emotionless, right then it seemed to be the only thing they could understand Natsuhi. At that point, even if someone had appeared, Natsuhi didn't intend to pay attention to them. But she did pay attention, because it was her beloved daughter.
母さんかなんだよこんなところに幽霊かと思ったぜ
Just like always, her words were rough, and not at all like a girl. Instinctively, words of rebuke rose to Natsuhi's throat. However, the strength gave out and didn't escape her lips.
ジェシカごめんね母さんは頭痛がひどいのそっとしといてくれるそう
Jessica was seeing her mother in a position of feebleness for the first time, so she was considerably disconcerted. Until now, she'd been filled with contempt for all of her parents, including her mother. But now those feelings had been completely swept away. Martha's totally exhausted face has wiped them all out. In its place, the word jar that told her floated back up in the mind. Our parents are doing their best in their own way. Because the family is counting on them, they can't afford to keep everything pleasant and have a heavy responsibility to fight. Okay, still, just fight and fight, but okay. Maybe her mother had been standing around in this dimly light hallway because no one had tried to understand that in her. Jessica hated her mother. So she had no intention of speaking kindly to Natsuhi just because she was looking a bit frail. So when she attempted to speak kindly to her mother anyway, she had to clench her fist and gather up the words from deep in her heart.
ずいぶん立て込んだ話をしてるようじゃんお前には関係ありますよそへ行っていなさい頭痛ひどいあ私薬もらってこようか構わないで結構ですお願いだから一人きりにして
Natsuhi wasn't being cold. She just wanted her to go far away so she wouldn't have to bump against Natsuhi only short at her. But there was no chance that Jessica would realize this. I mean, how can she know? Jessica hung her head, looking sad. Seeing that expression, Natsuhi recognized the kindness that Jessica was trying to muster. She gave her a small shake to drive away her own unkind feelings.
じゃあ私行くよ大人の邪魔にならないようにいとこたちと一緒にいるからじゃあ お待ちなさい。
She called Jessica, was trying to leave, and looked lonely to a stop.
気遣いをありがとう。お前を残して寝込むわけにはいきません。
よせよ。演技でもないぜ。
Okay.
心配をかけました。もう大丈夫です。私は行きます。
If I let Mother seem like this feeble any longer, it'll only make her feel more uneasy. With that thought in mind, Natsuyo left Jessica with words of gratitude and made to depart. This time, Jessica called out to her mother's back. Natsuyo stopped and turned around, asking what business Jessica had with her. But Jessica herself didn't know why she stopped her mother. And for a while, she smiled wildly, mostly to herself as she hesitated over what to say. She was poking around in her pocket when her hand touched something, and she took it out.
さ、母さん。私さ、今日、お守りもらったんだよ。なんだっけな。魔除けだったっけ。確かその、ドアンの、忘れちまったぜ。私が持ってても仕方ないし、母さんにあげるよ。
Oh, she's giving her the bracelet. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
So she heard its various effects from Maria. Jessica's mind had gone blank. She was just barely able to say that, even that much. Jessica, thinking that her mother probably wouldn't accept it anyway, immediately drew back the hand she had stacked on, grasping the charm. So when Natsui came back to take it, she was extremely shocked.
これは何かの景品？
まあその、私も多分そうだろうと思ってるけど、こんなおもちゃみたいなお守りじゃご利益は期待できねえよな。
Her mother took the charm from where she grasped it in her hand.
ありがとう。大切にします。ジェシカには今度、私が子供の頃大切にしていたお守りを代わりにあげましょう。
別にそんなつもりで渡すんじゃないぜ。でもまあ、どうしてもって言うなら。
では、私はもう休みます。頭痛がひどいので。ジェシカもあまり夜更かしをしすぎないように。
Okay. She trying like to be gentle to her?
Yes. But they both of them don't really know what to do.
Yes, I
So
see.
they
Yeah,
are
it's
just
kind
trying
of
awkwardly.
awkward. I see.
Yes,
For
but
both
it's
of
so
them.
it's so sweet.
Because Jessica hate her mother because she's too strict, and
Yes.
Natsui doesn't like the way Jessica is because she's kind of like a tomboy.
Yes. She wants Jessica to be a certain way, so she is going to be a perfect head
Yeah.
of the family in at least in her eyes, right? So since Jessica doesn't really fulfill that kind of role,
But now,
she's even more strict.
yes, but
But
now
she-
is realizing that maybe all that was for nothing. So she's like, did I do good, or I just was too used, or something like that? Probably.
No, I don't think it's like that. It's just that with an interaction like this, I think she realizes that Jessica is her own kind of kind and considerate and beautiful person.
Yes,
But this
yes,
is
yes.
just the
That was...
beginning of that.
Okay, yeah.
This is just the beginning of that. So it's just the awkward phase of, oh God, what is happening? Why is she doing
Yeah.
that? Oh wait,
Yeah.
she's actually worried about me. What? Oh my
I
God,
see.
my mother is going to laugh at me because I'm giving her such a weird toy. Why
Something
am I doing
strange.
this? Oh my God, she accepted it. And
Yes,
she's
yes.
She's saying that she's going to give me something that's so important to her. What?
What the heck? Is this still my mother? Or something like
Exactly,
that.
exactly.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
I love this interaction.
By the way, here comes the perfect boy.
Ah,
やれやれ。今日の日中が嘘のようだぜ。
George and I were killed in time from the parlor television. At that point, Jessica returned. Her was still blank, but it looked like she'd calmed down a little since we'd last seen her.
マリアはまだ肖像画前？
いや、さっき戻ってきて。今はそっちのソファーで寝てるぜ。マリアにはもう遅い時間だもんな。
Okay, 10 p.m. Even if we planned to stay up all night, it was about time to head back to our room.
一応うちのお袋が屋敷にも部屋を用意してくれたんだけどよ。どうする？
僕はゲストハウスに戻りたいかな。親たちの様子を見る限り、僕たちはお屋敷にいない方がいいと思う。
Probably.
good call.
俺も
Yeah.
だぜ。子供は邪魔せず引っ込んでろって感じみてえだからな。
You're gonna leave Maria there alone? Maybe don't do that?
No, they're going to pick her up. There we go.
As we were talking about this, Huntress came to the parlor. She was looking all over restlessly, probably trying to find Maria.
ローザおばさん。マリアならそこのソファーっすよ。
ありがとう。すっかり眠っちゃってるわね。ベッドに移さないと。
よかったら、僕がベッドまで背負っていきましょうか。
Of course.
Of course, who else but the perfect boy is gonna do that?
ジョージ君たちはゲストハウスに戻るの？それとも夏日姉さんが用意してくれた部屋に泊まるのかしら？
今話し合ってました。ゲストハウスへ戻ろうかって話になったところです。
そう。ならマリアも一緒にしてあげてもいいかしら。いとこのみんなと一緒の方がきっと安心できると思うしね。
Okay, sorry, but sorry about this. If you leave her here, I'm probably gonna slap her again, so bring her with you.
Oof, that's grim.
I
but
know,
yes.
but also a little bit funny, I don't know. Benno's words, she seemed to be concealing some regret that the adults herself included deeply in the hurts Maria's feeling, and not only her feeling, but okay.
任してくださいよおばさん。何しろこっちにゃマリアをあやすことに関してはエキスパートがいるっすからね。
This game is very wholesome. Don't know yet, but for now, I'd say not really.
There's a lot of pain before the wholesome part. This is connected to Igurashi. There we go. More like it. More like
Okay,
it.
someone knows. I have no idea. This is my very first time playing, and Ofi here is the expert. So I have no idea what is gonna go on. But I have the feeling, if these are the premises, something horrible is gonna happen. There's probably a god that is angry at them. They're gonna Irashi when they cry. So yeah. Oh yes, I played them. Those games are great. Yes, I love those games. The Zero Escape games, yes, they are great. All three, yes, I played all three. Yes, my favorite is the second one. Is Virtue's Last Reward. Those are great. Oh no, that I have the first one. I have the first AI Somnium Files, but I haven't played it yet. Maybe I should play it live sooner or later. I don't know, but I have it somewhere. I actually have the special edition of the first one, the collectors.
Oh.
I bought it only because it was the same author of Zero Escape. Yes, I know. It's the same authors as Zero Escape games. I only bought that because of that. By the way,
I am curious about those.
So-
I'm going to play
それ
those
は
as well
僕
in
の
the
ことじ
future.
ゃない
great games. Great games.
Yes, George, we are
僕だ
talking
けじゃ
about
無
you,
理だよ
perfect boy.
みんなでだよ。
そうだぜ。
Hey, look at him. He's so considerate. He's so humble.
Okay.
He's so perfect.
No one is perfect exists. And no one in the world is the. Did you say perfect? Yes. No one is this perfect in the world. There's probably something in his hiding. It's probably gonna kill someone at a certain point. It's gonna explode. Something's gonna trigger him. Nothing. No one is like this in real life. That's the only one that they can't really see through. Oh, actually. Because he has this facade of the perfect man, boy, whatever, perfect son, perfect boy, perfect headmaster, perfect everything, that I don't see anything else about that. And that is very strange. Nothing is perfect, nothing is therefore imperfect. I don't know.
バトラだってあんなにもマリアと意気投合してふざけ合ってたじゃねえかよ。
As we said this, Ontra's a smile, looking truly unhappy.
私たちの話し合いはだいぶ遅くまでかかりそう。だから申し訳ないけどマリアをみんなにお願いするわ。
I think she's going to be in better hands than yours.
Yeah.
おいマリア熟睡かゲストハウスに戻るぞ
Mutter something in this thing roll over and make us sleep.
Yes.
It looked like she was sleeping deeply. I mean,
すっかり寝込んじゃったようだぜ。
how heavy could she be? Just pick her up and put her to bed.
起こすのは悪いな。
僕が背負うよ。
Perfect
Who
boy to the
else?
rescue.
Who else? Who else but Jor with his white horse and the perfect
Shinomiya,
armor?
George.
I've heard this kind of premise before. Thing show synchro. I never see, but Battle Royale, yes, yes. Honestly, the premises are kind of similar to that. Now that I think about it, or kind of similar to Battle. Have you ever seen Battle Royale?
No, I just heard of it.
Simple story. Students in a classroom are bring to an island. Each one it's the original Battle Royale. Yes, exactly. That's why
Yes, that's
we use
that's
that.
what I heard.
That's why we use the description. All the students are given a weapon or something to survive, and they all have to kill each other until one remains. Whoever survive get to live. The other else get death.
Yeah, I heard about it and I researched it a little bit when I was really into Hunger Games,
Basically.
and everyone was saying basically, oh, they basically copied Battle
Oh yes,
Royale all the
definitely.
way.
It's definitely a rip-off out of that. But literally, a lot of things are very similar. Even the fact that each one in our game got a weapon, it's basically the same thing.
I see.
Maria's body, but she went lighter than it looked. I mean, she's 9. How heavy can she be? I leave her and put her on George and Nikki's back. It was raining outside, and Nikki couldn't hold an umbrella and carry Maria at the same time. Looked like Aunt Rosa would come with us as far as the guest house to help out. However, when she heard Uncle Cross' voice to call out to her, she had no choice but to return.
Ah,
困ったわね。もう戻らないと。
Don't break the
皆さ
pasta.
ん、ゲストハウスまでお戻りですか？
I see you.
Shannon to the rescue!
Of course. No!
No,
Don't do that.
not the pasta.
It's legal.
It's illegal.
だいぶ暗くなっておりますので、私がご案内させていただきます。
ちょうどよかったわ、シャノちゃん。ジョージ君がマリアをおぶっていてくれるの。傘をさしてあげてくれないかしら。
はい、かしこまりました。
Sunshine brought umbrellas for each of us and a flashlight to get away. Oh, wait. Okay, I think how George's story is gonna be. I think I know what's gonna happen. George likes Shannon, but Shannon is not a very important person or rich or everything, so she cannot be with her, and that's gonna be the thing. Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Yes, that's gonna be the thing. Whatever. As we opened the door, the downpour was quite terrific. Looked like we wouldn't have any spare time to take a pleasant walk and enjoy the nighttime rose garden.
兄貴、重くねえか？俺が背負うぜ。
Welcome back, Jackson.
大丈夫だよ。マリアちゃんくらい背負えるよ。
本当にありがとうね。マリアをよろしくお願い。
わかりました。じゃあ、おやすみなさい、おばさん。それでは、お送りしてまいります。
ええ、よろしく。
Rosa watched us leave.
マリア、いつもごめんね。
Rosa normally didn't reach the person in question nor any of the other kids, but disappeared between the sound of the rain. After coming to the rainy rose garden, we arrived at the guest house.
俺がマリアを背負って立候補すりゃよかったぜ。そうすりゃ傘をさしてくれるシャノンちゃんのでっけえお乳を
Okay,
出てた。
typical butler. Okay.
そんなつもりじゃないよ。誤解だよ。
Oh, happy
Sure,
birthday!
perfect boy.
Sure.
Happy birthday.
I mean, he wouldn't know, but still, I don't think he dislikes that.
そうしないと、ジョージ様が濡れてしまうと思いまして。
ジョージ様。
ほーら、バカなこと言ってないで入るぜ。
After bringing George and Jessica, we folded up our umbrellas and went into the guest house.
お召し物を濡らしてしまった方はいらっしゃいませんか？タオルを用意いたしますが。
そこまで気を使わなくていいぜ。ありがとうよ、シャノンちゃん。
そうだ。僕たちはこれからトランプでもして少し遊ばないかって話なんだけど。
あれ？今日のシフト、深夜勤は誰になってんだ？親族会議中は特別シフトになってたと思いました。
Oh, for the servants?
少し変更も出てるみたいなので、ちょっと確認してきます。
ああ、わざわざ屋敷に戻らないとわからないんなら無理に。
大丈夫です。ゲストハウスの使用人室でわかりますので、ちょっと失礼しますね。
Chanang-chan gave a quick bow and went to the guest house servant room. The rest of us headed for the cousin's room and decided to put Maria to bed for the time being. She was sleeping very deeply and there was absolutely no sign of her eyes opening. For now, we'd get some soft drinks out of the room's refrigerator and drink those while playing cards or something.
あれ？カノン君？
Why is he here?
源氏様までこちらに。
Everyone's
今
here.
夜のシフトはどうなっているのでしょうか？
クラウス様の命令があってね、シフトの大掛かりな変更があったんだよ。
ゴーダがお屋敷の深夜勤に変更になった。シャノンとカノンはゲストハウスの深夜勤。
Okay, at least good for them, I suppose.
私と熊沢はゲストハウスに泊まるようにとのご命令。
Why does he want to only go there, though?
お前も
No, no.
今夜はこのままこちらにとどまるよう。たった今電話があった。
ずいぶん大掛かりな変更ですね。 お屋敷とゲストハウスの当番がまるっきり逆になってるじゃないですか。
Oh, Goda was supposed to move here and the other one there. Okay.
Mm.
What the rest you were saying? Sharon Khan had been assigned originally. Sharon Khan had been assigned to night shift in the mansion, while the night shift in the guest house, where all of the relatives were staying, had been sent to Goda. Oh, but yes, okay, yes. I put it was overcomplicated things. Musamu would have been sleeping at the guest house, while Genji would have been sleeping in the mansion. Price suddenly ordered that the schedule to be modified. Shift the guest house and the mansion had all been reversed, and Genji was spending the night in the guest house.
ベアトリーチェ様の手紙のせいだろうね。
Definitely.
多分ってどう？
あんな怪しげな手紙が現れたら、クラウス様が僕たちを疑うのは当然だからね。親方様直属の僕たちを極力親族会議の席から遠ざけなかったんだろうよ。
There we go.
And Goda isn't because he's been taken in by Kraus. Makes sense.
I think Natsuhi specifically
Yeah, still.
chose Goda, but all of the others are there
Not
since
Kinzo, at least.
longer period of time and under Kinzo.
Genji, Shannon, and Canon were all permitted to wear the Shumia family crest, the one in... Okay, yes, I was asking myself this thing. The one winged eagle as the servant who served directly to Underkind. I almost said that, just for your information. I almost said the wrong thing. Hi, Astra. Fun fact about Canon, did like himself?
Hi.
Yes, I kinda noticed.
Yaku desu.
Of course.
Yaku desu.
Since they were working for the Shumia family, they had to obey anyone's order, but the only boss was Kinzo. Since only Kinzo had the right to employ them, even Cross could not have them demit. Aha. Because of these, Cross and others viewed these servants as Kinzo underlings and shunned them. And in fact, Kinzo seldom let anyone other than them enter his city. Suddenly, Chief was probably a clear expression of the sense of Mr. the Coast. Considering that Kindle at Life Flight, this would definitely be the last family conference before the problem of the inheritance came up. On top of that, mysterious letter claimed to be from Beatrice has dropped out of the blue. Kraus definitely wanted to keep Kinzo's loyal subject away from the table of such a delicate and important discussion.
ではすまんが、私は向こうでくつろがせてもらう。もし何かあったらすぐに呼ぶように。今夜のお客様は特別だ。
Wait, what? Which guest?
Who could be a special guest, a special case?
Beatrice? Is they know?
Beatrice, of course.
はい、
She's here?
源氏様。
They have talked about Beatrice.
Yeah, I
as
know
of
that
a
they
more-
know she's real, like they met her or something.
Uh-huh.
But I wasn't expecting her to be in the guest house. That's what I mean.
今お戻
Why
りに
why
な
are
る
you saying that she's in the guest house?
Because they work in a guest house and they said, and Kenji told them, "Today we have a special guest, and where else could she be if they have to take care of her?"
Okay. I see your reasoning.
親族の方々はお屋敷で会議を。だいぶ長引きそうな雰囲気だったかな。
Also, I don't think she's gonna appear in front of the adults. She just dropped the bomb and left and removed the hand, basically.
Yes, she's just wanted to cause
She
havoc.
just said chaos and disappeared.
Chaos. My job here is done, but I haven't done anything.
I'm gonna make some chaos in this point and then leave.
Yes.
なら気楽だね。これ以上の深夜になって、しかもこの天気。多分、親族の皆さんは、お屋敷の方のお部屋にお泊まりさ。
多分ね、源氏様がいないから言うけど、ゲストハウス行きになって、ちょっと嬉しかったかな。
ふん、どうしてだい？意地悪な奥様やエヴァ様から離れられたから？
Probably.
それとも別の理由があるのかい？
Oh, because there's George here also.
The perfect boy is here.
Yeah, the perfect boy is here.
ありません。
Oh, why
Not
would you
at
say
all.
that?
Not at all. It's
No.
not like you have a love
二人で
interest in the
深夜
perfect
勤を
boy.
頑張ろう。よろしく、姉さん。
私、ついさっきお子様方にお部屋で遊ばないかとお呼ばれしてて。
Hana got her head apologetically, gazing at Canon uncertainly. Canon didn't try to meet her eyes and spoke curtly as he sighed. It looked like he didn't plan on indulging his sister.
ダメだよ。深夜勤を仰せつかってる。それに僕たち家具には遊びのお誘いは必要ない。わかるね。
Dude, calm down, man.
そんなことわかってます。
Shannon's shoulder drooped slightly. She was really expected that Canon, a stickler for the rules, would say something like that, but she still seemed a little discouraged. As Canon flipped through a logbook, he spoke with a face in Shannon.
ならお子様方お待たせしてしまってるね。
Yeah?
深夜勤に当たってしまったからご一緒できないと謝ってこなきゃ。行ってきなよ。
私、
What,
謝
what,
ってくるね。
what do they have to do during the night? I mean...
I don't know.
Shannon hardly stood from her seat before her brother's mood changed and flew out of the servant room after giving a quick bow. As he watched her go, Canon took a single deep breath. Genji's voice came from beyond the screen.
カノン、私がここにいるからお前も行くといい。
源氏様、誘われたのはシャノンだけです。僕は別に誘われては。
その場にいなかったから怒り言えばお前も
Thank you,
誘われている。
Genji, that you're there.
たまには子供らしく遊んでくるといい。
いえ、僕には必要ない行為です。
Talk about edgy.
人の子には遊びも必要でしょうが、僕らは
Of course.
家具ですから。
Of course.
Of course.
そうか。
姉さんだって家具です。
Yes.
人のふりをしたって後で苦しむだけなのに。
Dude. Like... Because you can't... Because it probably doesn't exist here, but I suppose you would dress it up a hot topic or something like that.
僕はそれが分かっているから人に近づきたくないだけなんです。
I didn't say anything after that. After a while, he stood up and used a pot of hot water to make powdered cocoa, serving some to Canon as well. Edgy boy, yes. Very edgy.
そりゃ本当かよ。そりゃ知らなかったぜ。
What's going on now? Or
声が
something
大き
stupid,
いぞ。
definitely.
マリアが起きちゃうだろ。
I was so surprised that he yelled obnoxiously and scattered his cars everywhere. It was customary to turn over, but she soon fell back into a deep sleep. Jesse gave him a jab and lowered his voice.
あ、いや、しかし言われてみれば確かにそれっぽい雰囲気はあったんだよな。なるほどな。
Good morning, Butler. Welcome to the world of people that got eyes. Shannon couldn't be seen anywhere in the room. A short while ago, when Shannon came into the room, George suddenly said he'd forgotten something in the mansion and needed to go back and get it. Shannon said she would guide him, just like she had on the way to the guest house, and the two of them departed together.
いや、昔からそれっぽい気配はあったんだぜ。好き
Yeah.
なものを聞いてきたり、趣味を聞いてきたりさ。単に関心を持つだけにしてはどうもなんて思ってたらよ。
Now they're alone going to the house.
そういや、昔っから上司の兄貴はシャノンちゃんにやたらと優しかった気がするぜ。なるほどな。
Damn it.
Yep. Butler notices Sting. Just because they told him. Aha! They're not really at the mansion. I knew
今
it.
夜が一番ひどいみたい。明日いっぱいもやまないらしいけど、もう少しマシになるそうだよ。
そうですか。では、あさってまでは船は来られないかもしれませんね。ジョージ様の月曜日のお勤めに差し支えが出ないか心配です。
台風が来ていることは知っていたからね。
Of course, who else but the perfect boy was already prepared for this
万
thing.
一に備えて月曜日には予定を入れなかったから
I
大丈夫
knew it. I mean, who else? He knew
こう見
already.
えてもスケジュールは先読みできるタイプなんだ。
You don't look like it? What do you mean you don't look like it? Jar puffed out his chest, acting proud. Compared to the calm appearance George always had as the oldest cousin, he now looked amusingly like a little kid. Shannon chuckled his abrupt contrast.
さすが。やがては会社を起こされる方はしっかりしていますね。
New song?
New soundtrack?
やっぱり
Yes.
Yes.
会社を起こすというのは大変だね。お金とかそういうのだけじゃないものが父さんのところで勉強していてわかるよ。会社を起こすということは城を持ち部下を率いるということ。うちの父さんは秀吉って名前だけあって戦国武将のエピソードがとても好きでね。
Oh, I see.
会社経営の哲学をよくそこから語るんだ。知ってるかい？戦国最強の騎馬軍団と恐れられた武田信玄も最初は部下たちの結束がバラバラで統率力をまるで発揮できなかったんだそうだよ。
そうなんですか？なんだか意外ですね。
信玄は部下たちを結束させるため数々のリーダーシップを発揮してるんだよ。
They explain that now. Whatever.
It's just a conversation.
Yeah.
戦場で武功を立てた部下に対しすぐその場で褒章を与えたり、
Okay.
こういうのは戦が終わってからまとめてやるものだからね。
Ah, to improve
戦
morale.
場の
Yeah.
本陣の中にいながら部下の武功を素早く評価しやる気につなげたというのは非常に大きいことだよ。それから部下が病気で伏せった時には誰よりも早く駆けつけお見舞いをしたと。武田信玄は戦国最強の騎馬軍団を率いただけじゃない、戦国一の部下思いの人だったんだよ。
そんな方だから部下の皆さんもついてきてくれたんですね。
I already heard this story several years ago. Oh, whenever discussed these far letters, it sort of go. John will always glow and look like he was having a great time. Oh, that's why he's like that, because he's inspired by this character. So Shan just smiled without interrupting. Or did he continue?
確かに資本主義の世界ではお金は力で石垣の高さでもある。でもね、戦も城も自分一人じゃ成り立たない。大勢の部下に支えられ、その力を借りて初めて成立するものなんだよ。それを理解してから父さんの背中を見ると、自分がいかに未熟で、
Of course, it's also modest.
父さん
What
が
else?
どれほどの切磋琢磨をして 今日を築き上げてきたかがよくわかるんだ。
ジョージ様はお父様のことをとても尊敬されているんですね。羨ましいです。
あ、ごめん。別にそういう意味で言ったんじゃないんだよ。
すみません。私も別にそういう意味で言ったつもりは。
So then look awkwardly look at their feet. Just kiss and get over with it. Shannon had no parents. She had been brought in an orphanage owned by Kinzo called the Fukuin House. Does this mean anything?
Let me check. I haven't checked, to be honest.
On the guidance of Ginzo, the honorary director, the orphanage offer members who excel chance for on-the-job serving experience. If the rest of Ginzo's approval, they'll be able to leave the orphanage and work as a servant for the Ushumiya family. It was considered to be the highest honor for those who lived in the orphanage.
Fukuin, written in that way with those kanji, could mean good news or gospel.
Okay. Servant from the Fukuin house all took name with the character On. Oh, Shannon, Canon, okay.
Yes.
So Shannon wasn't a real name. Same went for Canon. All the members of Fukuin house were orphans. At least they were all people who had been separated from their parents under special circumstances. Because of this, the orphans had been told to think of each other as their other family. That's why it seems so natural about them when Canon called Shannon his sister. Makes sense. While both Shannon and Canon were working in the mansion today, there were several other silent presents in the that's On, I think, character in their names, such as Manon.
Yes, it's On.
And Lennon, who often worked in a rotation schedule. Okay. However, the remaining several stayed with their Ushimiya family for long. It was starting up for them to quit after 3 years, so you could probably say that Shannon, who had been working for 10 years, was a notable exception to the rule. Working as a servant for the Ushimiya family was a heavy burden to bear, but the pay wasn't that bad. Was bad at all. Working a full 3 years would earn money that was needed to enter mainstream society. That's why, even though the orphan realized what harsh task working for the Ushimiya family was, they still hoped to be accepted. So basically saying, we work to here, and then we can do whatever we want, basically.
Basically.
Maybe the fact that Shannon managed to continue working for 10 years wasn't because she had more willpower than other servants. Maybe she couldn't stop working for 10 years because she didn't have the courage to say she wanted to quit. Kinzo couldn't even trust his own blood relatives, and those excellent servants sent from the Fukuin house were the only ones he could rely on. Because of that, Kinzo would sometimes allow them to wear the family crest as serve under his direct control, and have them work close to him.
もう勤めて10年近くになるんだっけ。だいぶお金も貯まったんじゃないかい？
どうでしょう。別に私、買いたいものも特にありませんし、ほんの何百万かあったって、それで残りの人生を過ごせるわけもありませんし。
目標の額があって、お勤めを続けてるわけじゃないのかい？
そうですね。私はこのお屋敷以外に行くあてもありませんし、お嬢様とも他の使用人の子たちとも仲良く、奥様には時折お叱りを受けますけど、バラの世話やお屋敷のお掃除も楽しいですし。
And
でもそれはシャノンちゃんの、サヨちゃんの人生。
oh, that's a real name. Okay.
Yes.
It sounds similar. They just changed the last character, Shannon, Shayo. That's why.
Aww.
Shannon cast her eye downward when she heard her real name. understood what George was trying to say and fell silent.
僕は成人し、社会人になってからも勉強して分かったことがある。子供の頃、僕らが思っていたほど人生は単調で短くないんだ。
All school-age kids have certain fears they can shake. They wonder whether they'll live the rest of their lives like sleepy classes after a monotonous and boring school day, spending their times in a carefree laziness without anything interesting happening until it's all over. However, life's only like that for underage students. For the human's life, the time they spent as a student is nothing more than a blink of the eye. A period where they break through the shelter of their immaturity. The inside of the shell might be a hot, suffocating and boring world, but the world beyond that shell is vast and filled with limitless possibilities.
君の人生はまだシャノンという殻の中でしかないんだ。君は自分の人生がこの生活のままずっと続いていくと勘違いしてるんじゃないか。
それは
But I couldn't deny those words. I've been able to harbor any clear doubts about her lifestyle, and since she had never had any hope of goals for changing herself, she let continue living the way she always had. And if asked whether this life was satisfying, she wouldn't have been able to nod. She may have been intentionally averting her eyes from the truth. To George's admonishment, she would have continued pretending not to notice as her real life slipped away bit by bit neglected.
ジョージ様、私はこのままでいてはいけないのでしょうか。
いけないよ。
Hmm.
あ、それから今、ルール違反が一つあったね。
John immediately gave a strict answer, then broke into a mischievous smile. Shannon already knew what she was being chided for, and she hung up her head again, apparently embarrassed.
僕たちしかいないときは、様はなしの約束だよ。
I thought it was something serious for a moment.
No.
ですが、ご命令でしたら聞かないわけにはいきません。私は家具ですから。
じゃあ、命令だよ。
はい、かしこまりました、ジョージさん。
Shannon hung her head, her face red. She said George's name again, this time only with San.
それでいいよ、さよちゃん。
Your smile, Shannon, not Sayo. The praise is a small act of bravery. Short exchange allowed me to clear how far back the relationship must have stretched. For a long while, the two talked as if the weather raging about them didn't even enter their thoughts. Talking about the many memories they built during the relationship that no one else knew about. Every once in a while, a flash of lightning would attempt to interrupt them, but this could solely neither the roses nor the time they spent blushing at each other. I see, you forgot something, Yeah, sure.
Cute.
They're cute. Yes. I will admit that.
そうだ、君に見せたいものがあって。
なんでしょうか。
Charlie has been speaking eloquently. Suddenly, something
I am about to implode.
Okay. Something got caught in the depth of his pocket, and just like the stuttering jar, it took a little while to get it out. Ring? Whoa!
It's a ring.
Already? Okay. Trying to prepare her somewhat, certainly before that this was what they'd been planning. But even so, when she actually saw it, she couldn't avoid blushing once more. George opened a small box, took something out, and he held out for Shannon to take.
これを君に受け
Is
取
it
っ
a
てほ
marriage
しいんだ。
proposal?
Yes.
このような高価なものは、その、受け
受け取れない。
え、その、こんなもの、私には
Hey, yo, calm down, girl.
過ぎていて。
さよ、これはお願いじゃない。
Oh, again.
命令だよ。この指輪をね。
命令では従わなくてはなりません。
うん、そうだね。いい子だよ。
Oh, even the... Okay, this is very cute. Shannon, not wanting to show her bright red face, timidly accepted the ring from George's hand while still staring at the ground. The ring was a simple accessory. It was a noble object meant since ancient times to be offered to a special... Okay, yes, we know about that. Therefore, while George could order it, he could not order anything beyond that. Anything beyond that would depend not on an order, but on Shannon's, no, Sayo's own will.
だから、ここからはもう命令じゃない。さよ、明日までに言葉でない形で返事がもらえ、わかるね。
Oh.
どうすれば。
もうこれ以上は命令じゃないから。僕、でも、指輪は指にするものだからね。気に入ってくれたなら、好きな指につけてくれればいい。
This is such a cute thing to say.
Yes,
I can't.
This is... Dude, okay. This dude really planned the thing
Smooth.
very
Yes.
smoothly. Yes. Shannon only pretended not to know. She already understood what he wanted her to do, but she was standing at a huge crossroad of her life.
もうこんな時間だね。
Oh, so basically he's saying, you could stop being a servant here, marry me, and we could live together, etc. If you wear the ring. If you don't,
If you want.
if you wear that ring,
If you want.
yes. If you want, and the choice is yours. If you wear the ring, I say that I can see that it's a yes. If you don't, it's a no.
今夜はこれくらいにしよう。
George turned away from Shannon, acting just a bit bluntly.
君に左手につけてほしいと命令することもできるかもしれない。君も命令されればそれに従えるという臆病な甘えがあるかもしれない。でも最後のここだけは君のわかるね。だからそれが命令。今夜よく考えて明日その返事を見せてほしい。
Shannon nodded back. It was the culmination of many days spent together. The moment certainly had come as a surprise to Shannon.
そろそろゲストハウスに戻ろうか。これ以上遅いとみんなを心配させちゃうよ。
Yeah, they'll think you're smooching.
すみません。その、お屋敷に用を思い出しまして。
You had to stay at the guest house, girl. That was the thing.
その、
It's just trying
行か
to.
ねばなりません。
こんな時間に本当かな。
No.
No.
Not at all. Just staring to Shannon's face as he laughed mischievously. Only saw through Shannon's lie. However, when he saw how she felt, he could sort of understand that she might not be so embarrassed that she want to be alone. So, because George realized the meaning behind Shannon's lie, yeah, I accepted it. Oh,
The game
okay.
is sticking a bit, okay.
Yeah, I was like, is this tagged or something? Okay, now I...
You know, it's the same before. I don't know if you noticed. There
Yeah,
was a
it
few
happened
seconds
early. It
in
was
which-
probably loading another part or something. I don't know.
Could be, I have no clue. These two are so sweet. God damn it.
Yes, true. Shannon entered the entrance to the hall with a tottering gait. A mysterious illusion suddenly gave her a feeling that she couldn't easily describe. It swelled up in her chest, Really felt like she was about to burst. After stopping for a second in front of the servant room to take a deep breath and calm her heart, she opened the door. Inside, Goda, who had been ordered to take the midnight shift at the mansion tonight, was absorbing a worn-out crossword puzzle magazine. He looked up for an instant to see if one of the family had come, but when he realized it was a fellow servant, he returned to his puzzle as if nothing happened.
Typical Goda.
源氏様より合田さんのお手伝いにつくように言われてまいりました。
ああ、そうですか。それは助かります。そろそろ戸締まりの見回りに行きたかったのですが、ここを開けてもいいものか困っていたのです。
You were doing a crossword puzzle, dude.
何しろ、旦那様方の会合はまだだいぶ続きそうですからね。いつ何時お茶のご用命があるかもわかりませんし。
そうですよね。ではどうしましょうか。私が留守番を。
ではシャノンさん、申し訳ありませんが、お屋敷内の見回りをお願いします。私はここで親族の皆さんのご用命の待機を
So
しており
basically
ます。
saying you do all the job, I'll just stay here and rest.
Yes.
はい。
Shannon was slightly disgusted. Even though she come here to help us as a favor, we're scarcely being forced to do the
There
job
we go.
of the person actually on duty. Yep. Furthermore, after one sided outsidedly forcing the task that on air, God returned to his magazine once again and became immersed in its crossword puzzle. Shano bowed her head as token sign of respect for her elder. Then she left the room to patrol the mansion. Thanks to her being a bit ticked off, she managed to suppress that floaty feeling she'd been having until just now. And anyway, she couldn't let Genjur Cannon see her looking like this. She wanted a little time to herself until her heart calmed down, so maybe going on patrol wouldn't be so bad. She began to hear the tumultuous voices of the family discussion come from the dining hall. Someone was speaking at great length, only to be interrupted by someone else. The second person also began to speak in a very long, drawn-out fashion, until yet another person interrupted. Then kept on repeating. It was as though the displeasure was seeping out through their voices. I mean, it's usual stuff,
Yes.
apparently. She had been told to go to the guest house, so it would be bad if the crowd discovered her. Thinking these, Shannon dashed past the dining hall. Then she went along a prearranged route through the dark mansion, checking that all the locks were secure. She walked down the hall, checking each window. There were no humans on Rokkenjima other than those connected to the family, so locking up didn't really serve much of a purpose. No one had been in the habit of locking up at the Yoshimiya head's family, at least not until Natsui had scolded them for being careless. Who can enter? A deer? No, wait. A seagull at this point. Hence the title
Yeah,
of the game.
maybe.
The metal features on the window were ice cold as she checked them one by one. The glow in her heart seemed to cool down.
Aha!
Oh, we're gonna see her?
Hmm.
At that time, she thought she saw something twinkling across the hall. Twinkling? How could anything be twinkling through the darkness of the hall? She figured she must have been imagining it, but she still held her breath. Grasping a curtain, she felt purplely gazed down the hall. However, over the occasional crack of thunder brightening the hallway, he was unable to glimpse any flicker again. It must have been her imagination after all. Must have been a wind. Maybe her heart was so agitated that she'd seen something that didn't even exist. Shana went back to checking the windows. However, a certain unnerving memory was resurrected in the back of her mind. It was that ghost story, which had been passed down amongst the servant who served the Ushiromiya family. The mansion had two different masters, one of the day and one of the night. Beatrice, the master of the night, would sometimes fly around the mansion in the form of sparking. Oh, those were butterflies. Okay.
Yes.
That was the story. Come to think of it, didn't Kanokun once said he'd seen it with his own eyes? So he got sulky when I said he must have imagined it and refused to believe him. Could it possibly be true? The roar of the thunder gave no answer. They were teasing Beatrice so much.
Yes.
Okay,
It's
change
this
scene.
chapter 1 in a sentence.
Yes.
So I wonder, right? Because you are thinking about this because you know how she's like. Because in I think when the game first came out, there wasn't a specific
Image.
oh god image
Apart
unless
apart the
you
portrait.
apart from the portraits. Yes.
Yeah.
So you know, but
Yeah, yeah.
midnight.
Okay. They're still arguing now, probably.
Yes.
It's cool though. I mean, the thing of not getting a proper image of her, it's a cool idea, but it cannot last as long, sadly. Especially with internet. Okay, why we are getting this scene of everyone here? Apart Maria, who is leaving.
I wonder why.
Is this the sound of her walking? Oh, I got an achievement out of that. Because it's midnight.
Welcome to the part of the game where stuff actually happens.
Okay. Okay, because that was like the intro of everything.
Exactly. Also, it's very long because you're supposed not to know anything. So it
Oh,
needs to
okay.
be long.
These is very Majora's Mask. These.
I was about to say that. I
This
was
is
so about to say that.
That is Majora's Mask, and oh, we are here. Okay, that is Majora's Mask. The down of the second day, whatever that thing is. That is.
Yes, yes.
It's probably a reference or something like that.
It could be.
Let me drink.
Yes, I'm going to drink as well.
Okay. Okay. This is still chapter 1?
This is still chapter 1.
What the heck?
Until the end of chapter 1, I will not tell you how this game is structured.
Okay.
After chapter 1, I can go into depth about it because
Okay,
at the point, you know.
Okay. Genji tied his bow tie and looked outside through a crack in the curtains. Maybe the rain
You
has...
want me to read for a while?
Yes, you know what?
Or...
Yes, actually. If you want. We can swap.
I
I wasn't
try.
thinking about that.
Maybe the rain had died down a tiny bit since the previous night. But the thick rain clouds didn't seem like they'd be letting any trace of the morning sun get by. The morning was dim and far from refreshing.
やはり今日いっぱいはやみそうにないか。
お待たせしました、源氏様。
Canon finished checking his appearance and exited the washroom. On their normal schedule, it was rare for anyone to have to suffer going straight from a midnight shift to an early morning shift. They were on a special schedule for the 2 days of the family conference. However, unless the typhoon passed today, the relatives' stay on this island would last until tomorrow. Caron thought it'd be best to be prepared for a special schedule to last an extra day. The two of them left the guest house, opening their umbrellas. The rose garden had been devastated by the wind and rain on the previous night. RIP.
Yeah.
Even though they'd spent several days making it beautiful to welcome the guests, one stormy night was enough to ruin it.
I mean, a particularly stormy night also, if you think about it.
Yes.
You know that actually roses are pretty resilient to wind and other stuff.
But still, this is supposed to
Still,
be very
this is
violent,
like a
I think.
typhoon, so yeah.
On Canon's side. The two headed for the mansion. They were supposed to meet up with Goda and prepare breakfast. Goda was such a perfectionist that he had probably already woken up and was probably already preparing a breakfast as exquisite and elegant as glasswork. They reached the overhang by the entrance to the mansion and folded up their umbrellas. Genji took a bundle of several keys from his pocket and unlocked the front door. The Yoshiromiya family mansion was the only thing on Kenjima, so in the past, they hadn't been in the habit of locking up. However, Natsuhi had ordered that the mansion be locked up from midnight to early morning. Ever since then, unlocking the door in the early morning had become part of the servants' morning shift. This task had been given to Genji and Kanon so that Goda could start preparing breakfast as soon as he woke up. Silence had fallen in the mansion, giving the impression that the mansion itself was still asleep.
では朝の仕事を始めよう。
はい。
The two of them split up and began opening the curtains throughout the mansion. If the curtains stayed closed, the mansion would remain enveloped in faint darkness, as though it was still trapped in the previous night.
Oh, so it's they're very thick curtains.
Yeah, I think so. There we go. Following a well-rehearsed procedure, Canon went around the mansion, opening the curtains for one window after another without having to retrace his steps once. Even with this horrible weather, drawing the curtains made it feel just a little bit like morning. While doing that, he passed in front of the kitchen. Even though he hadn't smelled anything yet, his stomach started aching for some of Goda's prized cooking.
おはようございます。
He tried to greet Goda, who should have been getting breakfast ready, but Goda was nowhere to be seen. The kitchen was darkly lit, and not only were the curtains not open, but the fan wasn't even running. It was still cold, without a trace of a fire being lit, so of course there were no signs of breakfast being made either. Though it would have been excusable, perhaps Gora had overslept.
He's fucking dead. Okay.
Even servants are only human.
And die easily. Okay.
They sometimes sleep in and show up late.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the rare case that such a thing happens, it's part of a servant's code to hide the unsightly scene before anyone notices. Smoothly cover it up.
Oh, I clicked. Wrong click, don't worry.
It's okay. and make sure the family never even realizes that anything has gone wrong. Cannon took the receiver on the phone that had been fitted to the wall and dialed the number for the extension line in the servants' sleeping room. He couldn't hear that characteristic sound of a dial tone.
Okay, this is strange.
Cannon tried picking up the receiver again, but even so, he couldn't hear the usual dial tone. He tried dialing again, but it had no apparent effect. Could the lightning last night have damaged some machine, breaking the extension line?
Mm-hmm. Only when I
The
have to believe
equipment in
that.
this mansion was all worn out. Cannon fully understood that even the smallest thing could have caused it to break down. He gave up trying to wake Goda with the phone and dashed over to the servants' sleeping room. How long has it been since I stopped sleeping and started lazingly staring up at the ceiling? That vague sense of awakening was part of Natsuhi's usual
Now
morning
they're
experience.
changing the scene. I hate it. I hate it.
She always slept lightly, and she couldn't sleep at all without medicine. To Natsuhi, sleep was definitely not a happy thing. When she looked outside, she saw that it was still pouring. If she hadn't sensed a tiny amount of light, she might have mistakenly thought that it was still the previous night. She herself was one of the hosts, so she mustn't wake up later than her guests.
I mean, you have nothing to do, girl. You could even sleep late at this point.
Yeah. Urging herself on, she raised up her body, which still hadn't completely recovered from yesterday's weariness. No one would torment her as long as she remained inside her room. Inside this room. And her headache wouldn't get any worse here.
One more reason to stay there.
Exactly. This room was the only place she could find peace. So when she left, it meant returning to the world where her husband's siblings kept trying to stab each other in the back.
She doesn't share a bed with her husband? Because the bed looks small.
Yeah. I think this is her room.
Yeah, but
Maybe they have a shared one, but
yeah, kind of strange, but okay. It could be in a mansion this big. It could be though.
it could be. In that case, wouldn't it be better to just stay locked up in this room forever? That ridiculous notion brought a bitter smile to Natsuhi's face.
Well, Kinzo's doing that, so you could do that too.
Yeah. She was starting to sound like Kinzo.
I can see the future. Okay. I am.
Though she often complained about Kinzo staying locked up in his own room and refusing to attend to everyone else, the truth was that she longed to do the same. Natsuhi gave her head a small shake, and her fantasy was replaced by the reawakening of her usual headache.
Yay.
Yay.
The headache woman.
When she reached for the doorknob, trying to leave her room, her hand touched the scorpion charm that she had hung from it before going to sleep the previous
Oh,
night.
she even hung it up. Okay.
Yay! It was Maria's charm, which Natsuhi had received from Jessica. Didn't Jessica say something about it having the power to repel magic, telling her to hang it from her doorknob? That's such a weird word to pronounce.
Doorknob?
Maybe it was thanks to the charm that at least this room had been protected from the malice of her husband's siblings.
It's just door plus knob. It's not that strange.
I know, but my brain doesn't process it.
So
Doorknob.
it's a doorknob.
Doorknob.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I didn't remember if you read that already or not.
It's okay. As she thought this, her mood began to get a little bit more cheerful.
ジェシカのおかげで少しはゆっくり眠れたということかしら。
Then Natsuhi remembered. That's right. Last night I promised Jessica that I'd give her a charm of my own in exchange for this one, didn't I? Natsuhi opened a drawer on a dresser and took out an antique accessory case that she had treasured when she was a child. Inside, there were many small objects that Natsuhi had thought were valuable at the time. For amidst those, she pulled out a red pouch. Inside was a small round mirror about 10 centimeters across.
Okay.
It looked quite old, but the design on the back of the mirror was very ornate, and it felt like something with historical value. At the very least, it seemed much more authentic than the other charm, which looked like a plastic scorpion keychain.
Something from a gacha, probably. I don't know.
Yeah. A UFO catcher.
Yeah.
She had heard that this was a spiritual mirror for warding off evil spirits, and she had been given it specifically by her grandmother when her grandfather's mementos had been distributed. Distributed? Okay.
Distributed, yes. Whatever.
Distributed.
It's just a different of accent, but it's okay. Someone say distributed, someone said distributed, so
Okay.
it's potato, so it's like that.
Tomato.
Yeah.
It had been believed since long ago that a strange power resided in this mirror. Perhaps people thought it could reflect a calamity and malice in the same way it reflected light.
There is something about yokai and mirror, but I don't clearly remember what was the thing, but it's probably related to that. The thing, I think you can trap your certain yokais inside mirrors, but I don't really remember how to do that or why.
That's okay.
So it's a thing of Japanese folklore. I don't really remember the entire thing though. But yes, it makes sense that they're thinking about this.
Natsuhi returned the mirror to its pouch. It would probably be a fitting object to hand over to Jessica. Just as she was placing it in her pocket, the sound of someone knocking on the door suddenly echoed throughout the room.
はい。
おはようございます、奥様。早朝から申し訳ございません。
今行きます。何事ですか？
No servant had ever come to her this early in the morning.
Yeah.
Nor had they come to wake her in person.
I wonder why.
I wonder why.
I wonder what
Perhaps
happened.
something bad had happened.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Maybe some fatal oversight had been made while preparing breakfast. Something that would shame the household in front of her guests.
Okay. I guess it's gonna be a lot of something red, but that's not gonna be ketchup. Maybe not.
Maybe they just used too much ketchup in the breakfast.
Yeah, could be.
While preparing omurice or something.
I was gonna say, what do you use ketchup for breakfast? Omurice isn't omurice a little bit heavy for breakfast?
I wouldn't know, but this is the of Shiromiya family.
Could be.
Yeah. Natsuhi took out a deep breath in anticipation for whatever troubles she was about to hear of. When she opened the door, Genji once again gave a morning greeting while bowing deeply. Bowing. Well,
Don't worry
Natsuhi
too much.
tentatively responded.
Listen to me. A trick to
Yes?
make yourself look confident is if you make a mistake, don't bother it and just go on.
But
No
it's
one,
English!
no
I
one
want
is
to
ever,
be
no one is
confident.
ever gonna notice. And if they're gonna notice, it's whatever. Really, for
Okay.
real.
おはようございます。何かありましたか？
申し訳ございません。 昨夜の落雷で電話機器に故障が出たようです。
Okay, that's it.
内線電話が普通になっておりますもので、
Uh-huh.
直接のお伺いに
内線電話が普通？それは面倒になりましたね。修理は可能ですか？
残念ながら
Hmm.
故障箇所がわかりません。
Mm-hmm. Like it's the work of a witch.
後で業者を呼んで修理させたいと思います。
ということは、この台風が過ぎるまでは修理不能ということです。
Probably. What do you think about it?
つま
I
り、客人たちの滞在中はずっと普通ということですね。客人たちのお世話に支障は？
出ないよう最善を尽くします。
結構です。粗相のないようよろしく頼みます。
Natsui let out a small sigh of relief. She had been prepared for the worst.
I also was prepared for the worst, to be honest.
But damage to the telephones wasn't the kind of trouble she was worried about. Then again, even this would probably be enough to spark sarcasm from Eva.
Oh wow, that a drop of her head could be enough, but okay.
Yes. Natsuki gave her head a light shake.
朝食の準備は順調ですか？
それがゴーダの姿が見えません。朝食の支度もまだ行われておらず。
なんですって？
Could it be that you should have
Natsui
said
was
that first, Genji?
Maybe.
Just wondering.
But no, but he was trying to explain himself for going to Natsuhi directly instead of calling her.
Still.
So this problem came out first.
Yeah, true, but still.
Yeah. To her, this was such a much bigger problem than it was
You
not
think?
working.
You think someone disappeared? Maybe it's a little bit of a problem more than a phone not working.
And despite that, this piece of information was the part that had been postponed. Why did everything go well most of the time, and then come to something like this when the relatives were visiting?
Obviously, that's normal.
Obviously. Murphy's Law. Natsuhi put her hand to her forehead and shook her head.
Why normally? Why during tests everything goes, and then when you start streaming, everything goes bad shit everywhere. Nothing works anymore. I could say the same.
Yeah.
大方朝寝坊でもしているのでしょう。とにかく誰でもいいから急いで朝食の準備を。
Natsuhi exited into the hall and turned around for a second to close the door to her room. The creepy thing she saw there silenced her completely. It was an unpleasant sight, as though someone had dipped their finger in a reddish black liquid and scratched at the door around the doorknob.
And Genji didn't notice that?
It was probably some sort of awful prank.
He didn't touch the doorknob because she opened the door. Well, that would make sense.
Yes. Arranged by some person who wanted to make it look as though they tried to force the door with bloody hands.
これは悪趣味な。
私も今ここにお伺い
Oh,
し
so he
て
knows this.
初めて
Okay.
気づきました。後ほど清掃いたします。
But he had to call for her, so he did not knock anyway.
趣味の悪い客人の冗談でしょう。不愉快です。実に不愉快です。
Ketchup.
Ketchup.
Mm.
Who in the world would pull such a childish and disgusting prank?
They had a lot of ketchup. They didn't know how to use it.
Natsui had a pretty good idea, but of course there was no proof. So even if she pushed the issue, it would just seem as though she was making a fuss about nothing. In fact, it would surely be better to act as though she hadn't even realized that such a prank had been played on her. Natsuhi gave the order to have it cleaned and headed off to the parlor with a squeak of her heels. When Natsuhi and Genji arrived in the parlor, Eva and Hideyoshi were already there.
I was noticing that moment. Yeah, the sound of the rain and no music.
Yes?
おはようございます、皆さん。
おはよう、夏日さん。朝食も合田さんが作るっちゅう話やないか。
Yeah, about that.
朝から胃袋が大喜びで騒ぎっぱなしなんや。
I think someone ate Goda-san before doing that.
本家の楽しみは食事くらいがせいぜいですものね。
Of course. I wasn't expecting anything different from her.
エヴァさんも朝からご機嫌がよろしいようで何よりです。
Please, City, you are in high spirits so early in the morning. Okay.
With a very expression, Natsuhi returned Eva's gaze, which was fiercely competitive despite the early hour. Then Kanon jogged in. After bowing in apology to the relatives for running inside the mansion, he noticed Genji and told him something in a small voice.
Okay, so Genji's there as well. Okay.
カノン、ゴーダはまだ見つからないのですか？
申し訳ございません。お屋敷内もゲストハウスも回ったのですが、まだ。
Okay, must be that outside then.
一体どこへ行ったというのです。とりあえず今はゴーダより朝食の準備が先決です。至急対応しなさい。
はい。
Kanon glanced at Genji. Like, bro, are you for real? Why is breakfast even more important than Goda right now? It seems he has something else to report.
She had to be
certain.
She had to be sure that everything is perfect for our brothers, because or else
Yes.
she's already been annoyed by them. So.
But was uncertain whether or not the words should come from him. Genji nodded and decided to give the report himself.
奥様、ゴーダだけではありません。旦那様の姿もあります。
What?
There we
主
go.
人が？
はい。
Wait a moment. Oh, even the letter is here. Okay. Six people died today.
Shall we find out?
I didn't remember how many. That's why I. Okay.
奥様より先に旦那様に朝食の準備がないことをご報告しようと思い寝室をお伺いしたのですがお姿がありませんでした。それから旦那様だけではありません。
Okay, who else?
ルドルフ様ご夫妻とローザ様のお姿もあります。
So we are at 4 for now.
No? Wait, 5.
5? Goda.
Goda, Rudolf, Kyrie, Kraus, and Rosa.
A moment. I think I lost someone in the... Okay, he's not the only one missing. And one is Goda. One. Rudolf,
One is Goda.
2. Oh, I didn't read his wife. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Wife, Rosa. So we're
5.
5. Yes. Yes. So who else?
屋敷にもですか？
はい。ゲストハウスの部屋にもおられません。
When she'd heard that Gora alone was missing, she'd assumed that he had slept in or was loafing around somewhere. However, now that she'd learned that several of the relatives were also nowhere to be seen, she began to take a slightly more optimistic view.
Optimistic? What?
Maybe they're all together. For reasons. The last night's family conference have continued all night, up until the present moment.
Yeah, but why Eva and Hideyoshi, thank you, are here then?
If so, they might have wanted to cool their heads after being shut in a stuffy room.
Oh, so they went to the bathroom or something, could be.
Wait, what? I'm not hearing anything anymore. Ah!
Oh, yeah, you're lagging.
Okay, wait. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I could hear you the entire time.
Okay, my
This is probably a hiccup.
my PC, I think, died for a second.
No, I think it was like a connection hiccup because I saw your model.
No, again. What?
Huh? What's up?
You know, it did the same for a couple of seconds.
I have no idea because I see you normally. The first time it happened, your model kind of froze, but now I didn't see that.
No, I don't know. I think I'm fine now.
Could have been a
I think I'm
hiccup
fine.
or something. I don't know. Connection issue, hiccup, something. I don't know. Whatever.
If so, they might have wanted to cool their heads after being shut in a stuffy room, going out for walks on their own through the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Can you smell the copium?
Yes, big copium. Big copium. Like,
The part
see,
about cooling their heads. Yes?
like 6 people disappeared. 5, sorry. People disappeared, and you're like, oh yeah, they must be somewhere. They must have been here. They must have been there. Nothing could have happened. I would have been panicking at this point, but whatever.
The part about cooling their heads really sounded like something Kraus would say. But I've probably been summoned to accompany them and aid them in some way. Gora was not a man who lost track of time. He had to understand that preparations for breakfast would be hindered if he did not return. However, maybe the family conference had continued until this very moment, with an atmosphere that would make it hard for anyone to slip out. Yes, that theory would be quite convincing for Natsuhi.
Only for her, I have to say that. Convincing only for her. No one else is convinced about this, but whatever.
Yes. She remembered the illusion that she'd felt that morning, as though the previous night had never ended. When she learned that the feeling wasn't just an illusion, she once again took a deep, weary breath. After all, that banquet of filthy vultures circling Kinzo's property was still going on.
Mm-hmm.
大方、庭園のどこか、あるいは海岸の方で相も変わらず
With the rain?
繰り返しているのでしょう。
In the rain.
In the rain.
とにかく
In the rain.
ゴーダを呼び戻さなくてはいつまでも朝食の準備が整いません。
ってことはなんや、兄さんたちの話し合いはまだ続いとるんか。
She had planned to say it in a small voice, but Hideyoshi overheard Natsuhi and managed to grasp the situation.
兄さんもルドルフもタフね。
Or maybe the dad.
ローザの場合は若さかしら。私たち、夕べの24時過ぎにはもう眠くてベッドに戻らせてもらったんだけど、確かにあの時点でも、まだ兄さんたちは熱論を交わしてたわ。男って、熱くなると嫌ね。
Mm-hmm.
Natsuhi snorted, her face still blank.
カノン、表を探してらっしゃい。ゴーダを見つけたら、すぐに戻って朝食の準備を
Poor
するよう
Canon
伝え
have to
な
go
さい。
out in the rain.
Yeah, poor Canon.
かしこまりました。
夏日姉さん、表とは限らないわよ。 お父様の書斎ってことはないかしら。
Yes, in Kinzo's study, where Kinzo doesn't let anyone in. Sure. Sure, Eva. Sure. Sure.
なるほど。考えられん話やないで。どういう話の流れかはわからん。お父さんの主催に場所を移して、お父さんにも混じってもらって議論を
Never
続
would
け
have
てる
opened the
っていう
door.
可能性は十分ある。
Sure.
そのような汚らわしい話題を好んで、お父様が書斎へ招き入れること
Exactly.
は考えられません。あらそう。じゃあ仕方ないわね。
Kinzo che sputerebbe i occhi solo se provassero ad avvicinarsi. Esattamente. We would spit at the sight of them.
源氏さんとカノン君は申し訳ないけど、外を探してきてちょうだい。確かに兄さんなら、頭を冷やすために外を散歩しようなんて言い出しても不思議はないわ。
In the rain.
Don't you anyway?
Yes.
たとえこんな天気でもね。私はお父様の書斎に行ってくるわ。ひょっとするとそこにいるかもしれないし、ね。
Oh,
Sure.
maybe he's the sixth one.
Kinzo?
Kinzo. Yeah, because he said that it would be okay for him if would have been killed by Beatrice at that point.
Mm,
He said he was in the mix, so it could be.
it could be.
客人であるエヴァさんにそこまでのご足労はおかけできません。私が行ってきます。朝のご挨拶も兼ねて。あら、じゃあお願いするわね。でも朝の挨拶を交わしてくれるかは疑わしいわね。夏日姉さんってお父様とは仲よろしかったかしら。仲が良いかは分かりかねますが。
One moment. I just realized something. Those who remains shall tear apart the two who are close. These are George and Shannon. The second Twilight. These are George and Shannon, definitely. Okay.
後ろ宮家の跡継ぎの妻を許されるだけの信頼を得ていると確信しています。 なら、きっと返事くらいはしてくれるわね。
He doesn't answer his own son.
お父様とは朝食くらいご一緒したいの。ぜひ降りてきてくださるよう説得してくれないかしら。私たちはすっかり嫌われちゃってるみたいだけど、そこまで信頼を得ている夏日姉さんの言うことなら聞いてくれそうですもの。そこまで短歌を切ってお父様を説得できず、一人で降りてきちゃったりしたら、信頼を得ているなんて二度と言えないかもね。
Yes. Okay.
自信はありませんが、努力はします。
Whatever. Whatever rounds your boat, Eva. I don't know.
Natsuhi responded, looking discouraged. Poor Natsuhi. However, knowing Kinzo's temperament, she had absolutely no confidence in her ability to bring him out.
Of course.
Eva was clearly mocking her, confident that Natsuhi wouldn't be able to get Kinzo to calm down. But even so, Natsuhi would lose face if she gave up, saying it was impossible and letting Eva go instead. Eva's mean-spirited and unreasonable demand made Natsuhi clench her fists slightly. When Genji realized this, he softly spoke to her over her shoulder.
奥様、よろしければこれをお持ちください。
それは
Genji handed Natsuhi a sparkling gold key of ornate design. It was the key to Kinzo's study.
Is that?
The study had an autolock and couldn't be unlocked as long as Kinzo forbade entrance. However, since Genji was especially trusted by Kinzo, he was allowed to carry a key to that door.
And it's given the key to her because he's dead. It doesn't have any reason to have the door closed at this point anymore.
でもこの鍵を使っ
But
た
how
ら
would he know?
あなたも咎めを受けるのではありませんか？
Because he entered already, probably. Because he
Oh,
was searching.
well, I mean, that makes sense.
深くお休みになられている時扉を叩くくらいではお耳にそれに親方様にお部屋を出ていただくよう説得するには扉越しでは難しゅうございましょう。ぜひ。
源氏。
Oh wait, he said so. Yeah. No. Okay. So maybe not then. Why is he giving the key to her then?
Until now, Natsui had thought of Genji as a cold servant who wouldn't do anything for her, since he worked directly under Kinzo. But it looked like she would have to alter her understanding of him. She wanted to communicate her gratitude, but by then, Genji had already turned his back on her and was walking down the corridor with Kanon. But as Natsuhi watched them go, the words directed at her from behind were sneering.
Genji doesn't need thanks. He just leaves like that.
Genji
じゃ
is
あお父
a
様を
saint.
必ず連れてきてね。息子のかわいい嫁の言うことですもの。きっと聞いてくれるわよ。
Yes.
私たちは客人だから、ここでのんびりくつろがせてもらうわ。
Uh-huh.
予算買えば口が過ぎるで。
Thank you, Yoshi.
すまんが夏日姉さん、お父さんのことをよろしく頼むわ。
Without answering, Natsuhi forcefully spun around on her heels and quickly left that place. I would like to continue up to a certain point, but I'm pretty sure there are at least 2 other scenes in the middle.
Ah, okay. So you say it's better stop here?
It could be better to stop here.
Okay.
I'm not too sure though.
No, it could be. I don't know. You know the game better than me, so I don't really know.
I'm pretty sure that there's this scene right here and another one with Natsuhi, which is the one that I thought we were going to see last time actually.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If you want,
Mm-hmm.
can I go AFK for a couple of minutes and I can come back and stay up for maybe 30 minutes?
Yes, sure.
Would you be up for it?
Yes, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I'm too invested right now.
You okay? You sure? Whatever you prefer, it's not a problem for me.
No. Let's continue for a little bit longer.
Yes.
If we get to midnight and 30 minutes, then we're going to quit. Then.
Okay. Okay, you're gonna go AFK at this point. You know, I'll go to the bathroom as well since I have
There
to
we go. There we go.
So we can make like a little pose or something.
Yeah. Please enjoy the sound of the rain while thinking about everything that is happening
No,
right now.
we'll go into starting soon screen. So there's gonna
okay.
So
please enjoy the starting.
We're gonna be right back. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And we are back. Hello.
Yeah.
We were... Oh, good night, Michael. Mikhail, sorry.
Good night.
I don't know if you'll be able to see Abracadabra this part. That's okay. You can also watch the VOD if you want. It's gonna be on YouTube. It's also on Twitch for a little bit. Until Twitch decide that it's time to go. By the way, I'll continue reading. Let me drink again. Because apparently the water wasn't enough. After all that excitement the previous night, there was no way anyone was going to wake up early. Georgia, Nikki, Jessica and I were snoring loudly on the beds in the cousin's room. Maria, who had gone straight to bed without joining in, was completely awake. As she rubbed her sleepy eyes and looked around, she was met with the loudest snoring of the other three cousins. For a while, Maria had to think about what had happened. After that, she realized that her mother wasn't with her, and she quickly got lonely. When I left the cozy room, trying to head to the room that had been arranged for her and her mother. Paying no heed to the three who were sleeping soundly, she slammed the door shut. In response, Butler mumbled and rolled over in his sleep, but it wasn't enough to wake him up. After a while, Maria returned, once again opening the door with a lively bang. When she had left the room, her face had been sleepy, but now that she was back, she looked irritated. After that, she climbed on Butler's bed, which happened to be the closest, and started yelling and jumping on it like it was a trampoline. Talk about a sweet awakening. Enemy rain. After the Mercishira was awake, Maria moved over to Georgia Niki's bed and started jumping on that one too. In that manner, the three of us were greeted with this extremely pleasant awakening.
ありがとう、マリアちゃん。起こしてくれたんだね。僕たちは夕べが遅かったから寝坊しちゃったのを起こしてくれたんだね。
What?
Not even the perfect boy is completely okay with my
Yes.
personality.
Sure.
でも、もう少しだけ起こし方を優しくしてくれると完璧だったかな。
ジョージ兄さんは本当に大人だよ。尊敬するぜ。
My sister once tried to do something like that. She did that only once.
I see.
Only once.
Because your reaction was...
Yeah. You know, remember the wrestling from last time? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
もうすぐ7時なんだな。ま、確かにもう起きてもいい頃だぜ。
It's not even 7 a.m. Oh man, that's early. She's like in the other house, girl.
ローザおばさんが部屋にいなかったの？もう起きてお屋敷の方に行っちゃったのかな？いない。
Maria kept growing ooh ooh and looking unhappy. She didn't exactly seem lonely because her mother wasn't around. It wasn't like she was irritated and thrown off balance because her mother wasn't where she'd expected. If we could just tell her where the mother was, that alone would probably calm her down. But unfortunately, we had no way of knowing where Aunt Rosa was, except that she wasn't there.
どうせ朝食に行くことになるんだし、屋敷の方に行こうぜ。
そうだな。マリア、一緒に屋敷へ行こうぜ。きっとローザおばさんもそこさ。
Mhm.
No dubbing on this phrase? Okay.
Maybe it worked.
そうだね。お屋敷に行こうか。
Well, at least she calmed down.
多分親たちはもう向こうに行ってるんだ。
Yeah, she's definitely in the mansion. It's not like she disappeared with other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maria regained her usual composure. Composure so completely. Her earlier tantrum now seemed like a lie. We got dressed, left the room, and headed for the mansion. Also expecting breakfast, but the cook was also dead.
Oh no, my omurais.
Oh no, my eyes! Once more there was a knocking sound on the study door, but there was no answer. He seemed to be sleeping
There we
still,
go.
and I could not wake
Sorry.
him. She went back downstairs and said something like that. Eva would probably be amused and triumphant, as always. And even putting Eva aside, it would remind me that Kinzo had stayed shut away during this entire once-a-year conference, not even coming down to greet anymore. He was calling her waifu, so I mean, was calling for his waifu. Even the family ad, no, especially the family ad, couldn't fail to make an appearance. Wonder if I can convince him myself. Nasui radiated herself and used the key that she borrowed from Genji to open the door. Even though she was prepared for the sweet stench, which seemed to eat into one's brain as it poured out the small crack in the door, she couldn't help but grimace. Thinking that it might still be sleeping, Natsui entered the room quietly. Oh, he's alive. Okay. When she did, Kinzo was already awake and looking down out of the window.
お目覚めでしたか。おはようございます。
どうやって入ったのか。
Kinzo spoke with his back still facing her. His voice was not harsh, but calm, and Asui was slightly reassured. However, though he was awake, he wouldn't have ignored all that knocking if he was in a good mood. Asui wasn't able to relax.
申し訳ございませんでした。源氏さんにお願いして、書斎の鍵をお借りさせていただきました。
You didn't ask, you just gave that to him.
Yeah,
You didn't
exactly.
even know that the key was a thing, but okay.
ほう、源氏がか。我が友がそれに足ると思ったならば、話を聞かぬわけにもいくまい。して、私に何用か。
はい、もうじき朝食の準備が整いますが、ぜひお父様にもおいでいただきたく思いまして。
Maybe you should have led with people disappearing.
Yeah,
Maybe.
so he didn't join lunch, he didn't join dinner. You think he's gonna join breakfast?
朝食はここで取る。いつものように運ばせるがいい。
しかしお父様、年に一度の親族会議です。せめてお顔をお見せになってください。
下に降りて私の死後、遺産をどのように食いちぎるのかを決める議論に加われというの
He got the point though.
Yes.
バカらしい。そのような話は私を抜きで好きに進めるがいい。そしてそれが親族会議だというなら、私は忙しいのだ。構うでない。
The last word carried the threat that any further requests would be not appreciated. The soon realized that adding any further pleas would finally bring his wrath down upon her. She looked forward to facing Eva's sarcasm, but there was nothing more Nasuhi could do.
そうですか。わかりました。みんな残念がるでしょうが、そう伝えます。
Maybe tell him that some people is nowhere to be found, girl?
Yeah.
So he decided to give up. Moving silently, she tried to leave the room before Kinzo's spasmodic temper could flare up. She did. Kinzo spoke to her. Okay, for a second I was like, that's it?
No.
It
I was waiting for this.
His voice was so calm and gentle. Felt like it came from an entirely different person.
夏日、後ろ宮の家に嫁ぎ、もう随分になるな。
はい、後宮を名乗ることを許されてからもう随分になりま
前の家が恋しくなることもあるか。
いえ、嫁ぐとは成果を捨てることです。
It's not what you're thinking, girl, we know.
私は後宮夏日、帰る家も懐かしむ家もすべてはこの後宮の家のみです。
She truly wasn't exaggerating. Such was the result she felt whenever she applied the Shiromiya family name to herself. And that's precisely why she was so saddened when her husband didn't treat her like a Shiromiya, leaving her to race about in vain.
クラウスが女で、お前がその夫であったなら、いや、それは言うまい。
Oh. Oh, he respects her?
どういう意味ですか？
Wow, okay.
お父様。
Sue was shocked. Kids were just never what they seemed. It would have been more than enough to make up for all she'd suffered to that point.
忘れよ、年寄りのざれ言だ。
Kids once again faced away from her. Told her to forget it, but Natsuhi couldn't help feeling a warmth in her heart.
お父様、この夏日は血はつながらずともお父様の娘です。後宮家の名誉も栄光も、そしてお父様が残されたものもすべて、この夏日が必ずや守ってみせますから。
お前に片翼のわしをまとう資格はない。しかし、お前の心には確かに片翼のわしが刻まれている。ならばお前は間違いなく我が血族で、後宮家の栄光を
Unexpected, honestly.
お前の衣服にわしがないことを嘲笑う者もいよう。
Ovi?
Yes.
Okay, you were still. I was like, is that everything?
Yeah, don't mind me. I'm dying.
Oh, okay.
しかし、それに耳を貸すことはない。心にわしを持つ者だけが真の私の血族。
Wow, Kinzo is even gentle when he wants what they are not expected.
後宮家に迎えられたことを今は光栄に思っている。
Without saying anything anymore, Kinzo remained with his back to Natsuhi. However, Natsuhi couldn't help but feel something warm well up inside there that she hadn't felt since long ago, when she had been just a child. Natsuhi bowed silently to his back and left the room.
あら、ちょうどいいタイミングだったわね。お父様の様子はどう？あんまり遅いから様子を見に来ちゃったのよ。
When Natsuhi left the study, she saw Eva climbing the stair and their eyes met. Eva was smirking unpleasantly, thinking that Natsuhi would have grudgingly after failed to convince Kinzo. However, the way Natsuhi was now, such a frivolous laugh would not disturb her. She was not permitted to wear the family crest on her clothing, but she was permitted to wear it in her heart. So she spoke calmly, clearly and confidently, with the dignity of the one who would protect the Shiromiya family's glory.
お父様は親族会議にはおいでにならないそうです。汚らわしい議題に関心はないと仰せです。とかなんとか言っちゃって。お父様を説得できなかったんなら素直にそう言えばいいじゃない。哀れですね。お父様が嘆かれるお気持ちもわかろうというものです。
Oh man, someone take the first aid kit here. Someone's dying.
Call an ambulance. Call an ambulance.
Call an ambulance. For real. Natsuhi did not answer. Just as Kinzo had done earlier, she showed Eva her bag as she headed down the stairs. Eva finally realized that she was being made fun of. That had happened so quickly to Boston and sweet confidence. Even so, she apparently didn't have the courage to risk Kinto's wrath. Unable to even knock on the door, she could only click her tongue, make a motion as the stretching at you, and follow after Natsui.
それで兄さんたちはいたの？お父様に聞いたの？
It's amazing how the
Oh,
only
fuck, I
person
forgot.
that Kinzo suspect is known of his blood relatives.
Blood relatives, yeah.
聞きそびれましたが、書斎の中にはいませんでした。お父様が夫たちの下船な話のために入室を許すこともありえませんから、下に降りて使用人たちが探してくれるのを待ちましょう。朝食は遅れますが、お茶でもいかがです？エヴァさん。別に結構。
Oh, she doesn't like that. Eva couldn't hide her confusion after the complete difference in Natsui's attitude. She was acting so boldly, and Eva actually to admit that she didn't have a sense of dignity about her. Unable to find fault with anything, Eva could only follow Natsui's back to the parlor.
This is one of my favorite scenes in all of Umineko.
Whoa.
Hands down.
When the two of them returned to the parlor, India had been joined by the 4 children and Nanjo. Oh, Nanjo. He's here. He's alive. Okay.
Oh, he's alive.
Genji, who had been
So-
talking with Hideyoshi, reported the current situation when he noticed that Natsuya had returned. What were you mean? What were you saying?
So I'm going to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Who's missing?
Wait,
From everyone
you know
you've
what?
seen around right now, who's missing?
Okay. We seen Canon. Is missing. Goda is missing. Oh,
Yes.
Kumasawa's missing. I mean, we haven't seen her at least.
We haven't seen Kumasawa yet.
Mm-hmm.
Someone else.
Rosa's missing.
Mm-hmm.
Rudolph's missing, and even Kirie.
Kirie. Yes.
Nanjo, we saw him. Those two, we saw him. All the grandchildren
The
were there.
cousins.
Kraus
Who's
is
there?
missing.
Yeah, Kraus is missing.
So it's 1 Kraus, 2 Rudolph, 3 Kirie, 4 Rosa, 5 Goda, and we seen all the others apart.
Nope.
Have
Nope.
we seen Genji? Oh,
Go
Shannon?
down.
We haven't seen Shannon.
We haven't seen Kumasawa and Shannon
Shannon.
yet.
But if my theory is correct, Shannon is here. Is somewhere. And the one disappeared is Kumasawa. That's because here it says on the second toilet, those who remain. Oh, wait though. The first toilet. No, okay, wait. On the first toilet, after the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices, so 6 people disappeared, and those who remain sheltered apart, the 2 were close. So the 2 who were close are definitely George and Shannon. So I think she's
Okay.
gonna be there.
Okay, I see your reason.
In my opinion. So I don't know.
We'll see.
But I don't know yet. The 2 that we haven't, that are not in the mix and we haven't seen are these 2.
Yes.
Genji reported the current situation when he noticed that Natsuya had returned.
主人たちはまだ見つからないのですか？
はい。申し訳ございません。あと、熊沢が朝食の準備に入りました。
Oh, okay, never mind.
Okay.
Never
So
mind.
Kumasawa is here.
Never mind then.
もう少し時間をいただきたいとのことです。
So maybe it's like a separation, not physical, in the sense that one of the 2 is not gonna be there.
Mm-hmm.
The clock read a little past 8. It should have been the time to start breakfast. Normally, going over that time limit would be a disgrace to the host.
今カノンが表を探しています。それからシャノンの
There we
姿
go.
も見えません。
Just to be sure that you didn't get that.
シャノンまで
Of course, she was happy in a happy moment. She couldn't. That's not allowed.
Of course.
まったく主人は何を従えて散歩に出かけたのですか
Copium. That's so good.
Copium. Tasty.
Get the copium, Nazi. Get the copium.
How many people have gone missing by now? Now that the number was this large, it was starting to feel truly unpleasant, as though the people were the only ones being left out of something. How is everything so calm with 6 people missing? At least that seemed to reflect the feelings of the children, and Maria in particular. She was indignant, her stomach grumbling, almost as though her mother and the others had left alone to go off and eat something delicious without her. The other children were freely through the channels on the television, trying to find a program that might interest Maria and cheer her up again. Andrew was sitting on the sofa, gazing blissfully at the children while reading a book. So even the children are there. Okay.
Mm.
It must have been a book about chess. The sound of footsteps came rushing toward them with a pitter-patter. There was only one set, so they realized before seeing would belong that it was probably Canon, not Kraus and the rest.
奥様、失礼します。
その様子では見つけられなかったようですね。
申し訳ございません。まだ。
もう十分です。ご苦労かけました。
Looking for people in the rain, by the way, with the rain must be awful because you don't see anything.
Yeah.
She didn't know where they are, but they had to be somewhere on this island. They hadn't had a thing to eat since the previous night, so their stomach is growling about now. They probably come toddling back on their stomach of their own accord for long. By now, Natsuine was truly exasperated and started to feel that there was no reason for them to go out of their way and search.
私はお客様方にお茶のご用意をしに厨房へ。二人とも早朝からご苦労様でした。
So he left the parlor, acting as though the release intention caused a new surge in her headache. Of course. Kanon tried to call her back, but Natsume left swiftly.
どうした？まだ何かあるのか？
Probably.
はい。旦那様方のお姿を見つけることはできませんでしたが、その。
Kanon sounded evasive. Looked as though he didn't know where they were, but I spotted something that might be connected to the disappearance. Evan she noticed this exchange of words and came over. They probably picked up on something strange in Kanon's behavior.
どうしたんや、カノン君。クラウス兄さんたちは見つかったんか？
実はバラ庭園の倉庫の様子がおかしいのです。
え？
様子がおかしいというのはどういう意味だ？
それが何と説明すればいいのか。
Kanon hesitated once more. His tone wasn't at all what you'd expect from his usually fearless boy. Seeing these, Evan and Yoshi looked at each other dubiously.
どういうこと？倉庫の中に兄さんたちがいたんじゃないの？
いえ、中はこれから調べます。その鍵を取りに戻ったところなのですが、
ようわからんが、とにかくその倉庫の鍵はどこにあるんや？
使用人室にあります。すぐに中を確かめましょう。
Okay. Kanon dashed out to the server and returned with the key. Genji left the parlor, saying that he would go check, but Eva and Yoshi followed after him. Or was there something strange about the storehouse that had caused the usually fearless Kanon to hesitate? It was still pouring outside, but perhaps the curiosity over this something the Kano couldn't talk about worn out. While the children made a big fuss watching television, Kano and the rest dashed over to the entrance. What about the door on Natsuhi, the blood on Natsuhi's door? The Rose Garden storehouse was a place that housed various tools used to manage the garden. It's definitely not a pretty building. Because of its appearance, it had been built so that it was hidden in a corner of the garden roses. Kano, Genji, Evan, and Hideyoshi came canting across the garden, holding umbrellas. They entered a small path just off the rose garden, which was normally off limits for those appreciating the garden and only used by those maintaining it. As they dashed down that, the sorrows came into view in front of them. It's a door. Normal.
Are you sure?
Quite an old shack compared to the flawless perfect beauty of the rose garden. It was pretty seedy looking. It was easy to understand why it was being built in a hard-to-see place. Evan and Hideyoshi arrived at the storehouse long after Kano and Genji. Maybe you're not very in your best form, Hideyoshi.
Yes.
こんなところに倉庫なんか建ててたのね。何よそれ。
When I looked where Kano was pointing, she was lost for words. Noticing these, Hideyoshi also followed Kano's finger and was likewise too shocked to speak. The entrance to the storehouse was a kind of shutter, and there everyone suddenly realized why Kano had been unable to find words to describe what they now saw. On the shutter, we were completely filthy from being exposed to wind and rain for so long. Stuck right on it. There was something that looked like a strange, dark, red liquid. Mucus? Ketchup.
Ketchup.
Or maybe it was some sticky paint. An indescribably eerie shape was drawn on the shutter. Some kind of ghastly substance. The rain had caused it to drip down like the fresh blood leaking from an open wound. No more beating around the bush. Some kind of mark was drawn there. A ghastly substance that looked like blood. In a shape that seemed to suggest something ominous. Two circles were drawn there, and inside them was a design that looked like a cross. It's more like a flower, but okay. The four ends of the cross were... Oh, but the cross on the other side. Yes, okay, now I see the cross. Never mind.
Yes.
Were widely exaggerated and looked like some kind of crest from somewhere around Europe. And near the cracks between these shapes, written closely, packed together, were some unfamiliar characters or possibly symbols.
なんちゅう悪趣味な落書きや。これ、あれか？
I wonder what that is.
悪魔の儀式とかの魔法陣いうやつとちゃうか？
Yeah. It wasn't surprising that Hideyoshi would say that about such a ghastly shape, drawn with a deep red dripping substance.
これ、いつ書かれたの？
昨日、雨が降り出す前にここに来ましたが、その時には何も書かれてませんでした。
他の方々の目に触れる前に何とかしよう。ご覧になられたらご不快になられるだろう。
そうね。
I have a thing to say. Maybe open and see what's inside, because if that's outside, maybe it's worth checking what's inside.
倉庫の中に塗料もあります。
Oh, they're gonna open
応
it.
急処置でとりあえず塗り消して。後日 天気のいい日に改めて塗装しましょう。
Can't you remember that he had just recently seen another scribble? And he too had been made.
The one on Natsuhi's
Oh,
door.
oh, so that wasn't just blood. Did he try to clean that up?
Not yet, I think.
No, the one on the door, I mean. Not now, the one on Natsuhi's door.
No, I don't think he had the time because he went down with Canon and they were all sent to look for the others.
No, what I mean is, the moment he knocked on Natsuhi's door, there was no magic circle, at least. Okay?
No. There was the circle already. But
Not on the door here, I mean, on Natsuhi's door.
No, on Natsui's door. When Genji went to Natsui's door, he noticed it, but he thought that it was more imperative to call for her, so he still knocked on the door and let her go out.
Okay.
And then he said, "Oh yeah, I noticed it actually, but."
Mm-hmm. There must have been. Let's try. I've seen it on the door to Natsuhi's room.
カノン君、さっさとこの落書きを消して戻りましょう。たとえ倉庫とはいえ、実家の落書きは本当に腹立たしいわ。
はい。すぐに済ませますので。
Hans got in for the shutter and unlocked it, then lifted it up with all of his strength. A boisterous noise resounded, and the eerie shape drawn on the shutter began to get sucked through the top as the shutter was raised. At least for the time being, that ominous drawing disappeared from their direct gaze, and they all breathed a sign of relief. So the inside was normal? Okay. Thanks to a kid program they came across. Why do you cut like that when the good sting? What the heck? When the good stuff is gonna. Thanks to a kid program they came across, Maria was feeling much better. Arthur and Jessica were poking at the kids' show at every turn, crackling together. George wanted to join the program with Maria from her perspective. Andrew sat on a sofa by himself, passing the time by reading quietly. They heard hurried footsteps coming from the hallway. Her footsteps of a single person. Did that mean that? Did that mean that wasn't a group of four that had just left? It was Genji. It was very rare for Genji, who considered being out of breath a violation of several virtues, to be gasping for air. He had probably come dashing back from outside the mansion. His shoulders were soaking wet and he didn't have his usual trim appearance. When Genji noticed Nanjo looking at him, he gave a small silent blow and quickly approached him.
Nanjo sensei, 申し訳ございません。至急お越しください。
Okay, someone died. They found stuff inside the place.
何事ですかな。
As Genji whispered something to Nanjo's ear, Nanjo went pale. He rose from the sofa, trying not to be noticed by the children who were still engrossed by the TV. And the two of them rapidly left the parlor, muffling their footsteps. As they were about to exit the parlor, they came across Natsuhi, who was pushing a serving cart loaded with tea set. Genji whispered something to Natsuhi's ear, and Natsuhi went pale too in apparent shock. Then leaving the car where it was, the three of them dashed toward the entrance. I have a question. In the anime, is this scene like this?
What do you mean?
I mean, the cat from the storehouse to inside the house was like that, because I can see it working very well. It's okay if you don't remember. I just was wondering.
Allora, to be honest, I can say this because I think you can see where this is going.
Yes.
I remember the adults going, finding out what's happening. Natsuhi being already with them, if I remember correctly.
Ah, okay, they
And
changed it a
then
little
the
bit.
children following directly.
Oh, okay.
because they were saying, "What the fuck are you all going?"
Makes sense, actually. If
If I remember correctly.
if you see everyone going into a place, you wonder why they're all going to that place.
Yeah. Yeah.
George noticed them running down
we
the rose
go.
garden to the wind. Yeah.
なんだろう、源氏さんと南條先生と、あれは夏日おばさんかな。
どうしたんだよ、兄貴。
何かあったのかな。ひどい慌てようだったね。
When Jessica and Maria saw that Eva, Hideyoshi, and Nanjo were no longer in their seat, and the serving car had been abandoned in the entrance to the parlor, they also realized that something was the matter.
何か事故でもあったとか？
行ってみようぜ。俺たちだけのけ者なんて面白くねえしな。
I think it's not fun if you go and check, but okay. Whatever runs your boat. For some reason, what Butler said sounded extremely indiscreet, but they couldn't deny that they were a little insecure and concerned after seeing that the adults run off into the rain without regards to their appearance.
行ってみようぜ。何があったか気になるぜ。
Jessica and Izzy's words spoke for all of them.
おい、マリア。お前も来るか。
Maybe not. Maybe not.
それとも、
Are you going to leave
テレ
her
ビを見
alone?
てるか。
That also is not a good idea. Maybe Maria with someone should stay here. Maybe it's a better idea.
マリアはテレビがいい。
僕たちだけで行こ
That's not a good idea.
う。マリアちゃん、すぐ戻るからね。テレビを見て待ってるんだよ。
She's fine with it.
Okay. By the time the kid made it outside, the adults were no longer inside. Jackie seemed to have a pretty good idea where they'd gone, judging by the direction they'd been running. Of course, she knows the place. She's the only one that knows the
Yeah.
place compared to the other.
Yes.
The wind seemed to suddenly get stronger. The malicious sound of thunder began to ring out like it had the previous night. Felt like an eerie something had surrounded the island, was trying to stop us from moving forward.
ジェシカ、この先には何があるんだ。
確か園芸道具なんかの倉庫があったはずだぜ。
そんなところに一体何があるんだろうね。
Just as Jessica had said, they began to see a storehouse in front of them. They could also see the adults there. The shutter to the store was open, and several adults looked as though they were searching for something. For some reason, only Atsui was outside the storehouse, without even holding an umbrella. She looked like she was hanging her head, and her back was facing them. There was Genji, Nanjo, and Atsui who had just left the mansion. The ones who left earlier, Canon and Hideyoshi, were also there, making for a small crowd of people. But there was absolutely no bustle of activity. When Atsuri realized that the Shield were approaching, a terrible expression rose to her face, and she ran at them with her arms spread wide.
来てはいけません。お屋敷へ戻っていなさい。
But despite that, no, because of that, the kids saw the scene that Natsu was trying to keep them away from. Inside the storehouse, with shutter wide open, a faint fluorescent light shone down, and right there was... Jessica Pearson's shriek rang out, but that was just because Jessica's scream was the loudest. Same thing spilled out of Butler and George Mount as well. Eva spread her arms just like Natsui, roaring the kids with a bone-chilling expression on her face.
ジョージ、みんなを連れて屋敷に帰っていなさい。早く、今すぐに。
When Natsui spread her arms, I thought she was trying to prevent her from advancing any further. But that wasn't why Eva was spreading her arms right now. She was trying to stop us from seeing that terrible scene. It was her mother's heart trying to protect the eyes and hearts of us children by blocking our view of that terrible scene by at least the width of one of her arms. This teasing is killing me, I swear. Also, the music is so good.
I know.
And this music actually reminds me of 999.
Ah.
There's some theme that got these vibes.
Wait just a second.
Hmm?
Wait just a second for the music to continue.
Whoa.
I love this.
Whoa. Whoa. Okay, I wasn't expecting that drop earlier. Yo, what the heck? Okay, this could come out of Castlevania.
Yes.
I could hear that.
But the thing is, we shouldn't be here vibing.
Yeah, but
I'm
still,
not.
the music is so good, this one.
Yes.
Man.
I would say, if you want, let's continue until you actually read what the fuck is going on.
Yeah. By the
And
way,
I'm going to say,
I
at
want...
this point,
Mhm.
gore alert.
Yeah,
Be
I
warned.
was expecting that. Also, the way that this game is teasing is made so good. It's so well done, and also I hate it, but in a good way. Okay.
Yes. I've seen this kind of cheap shit all too often. In manga, TV, anime, and movies, I've seen over and over again. It was just seeing something appear in real life that I'd seen plenty of time before some of those more sensational movies, right? That alone shouldn't. But that's true. It's that old bastard, isn't it? I get it, that's Uncle Kraus. I get it, then that's Uncle Kraus. And Kiryu-san and Aunt Rosa. Nah.
ダメよジェシカ入ってはダメ見てはダメよお父さんお父さん
死後硬直をほぼ全身に認められる
And
多分死後6時間以上は経過しとるだろう損壊部位の状況を見る限り死後に破壊された可能性が高いいやめったなことは言えん私は町医者だ検視は専門外だ
still, as a doctor, you kind of know.
ちゅうことは何や殺しただけじゃ飽き足らずさらにこんな無体なことをしたん言うんか悪魔や悪魔の所業や
Or maybe a witch. Aunt Natsui caught Jessica in her arms, and Aunt Eva caught George and Nikki. So I was the only one who could approach the entrance to the storehouse. Ah. Only there has been someone there to catch me too. Would have had needed to have this horrible evil scene burning to my eyes. No, that's not it. Stop with it, I swear. It isn't that there's no one here to catch me. The people who should catch me, they're right there, aren't they? Just as Jessica did look like a storehouse for gathering tools. A lawnmower with extra blades, a grass sickle and a hammer. Some carpentry tools such as a saw. piled up potent plants and bags of fertilizers. And pretty just the same, the corpses of several people had been laid to rest there. No, had been tossed in there. I could tell them by their clothes. The old bastard and Kirie-san, Uncle Kraus and Aunt Rosa. Beyond that, Yohoda-san and... Are there still more of them? How many people died? You're fucking kidding me. I can't even count them one hand. Damn it. I didn't know where it had been one of those gathering tools, which I fused for something other than their internal purpose could definitely be wielded with a naked brutality. Or whether some horrible tool that had been brought here in here specifically for this. Anyway, each one of these bodies jammed in here had been given an atrocious makeup. It wasn't makeup, it was more like their faces had been plowed. What? Their face was mashed, forced into expression that normal people couldn't make even after death. I couldn't tell where their eyes or noses were, but I couldn't find their but I could find their mouths because they were gaping wide, their gums exposed. What kind of disturbing? But their front teeth were missing, and even the cheek that should have covered all these were all torn up and laid bare. That trendy makeup you always spend so much time on, even though your man isn't doing a thing now.
バトラさん、これ以上見てはいかん。こんな姿をお父さんもお母さんもあんたに見せたいわけがない。お父さんとお母さんのためにもこれ以上見てはいかん。
死者ってのは安らかに眠る顔ってやつを拝ませてくれるんじゃねえのかよ。顔がねえんだよ。俺の親父とキリエさんの顔がねえんだよ。どういう顔して死んじまったのか、それすらもわかんねえんだよ。なんだよ俺は。親父たちのことを思い出すときはこのくちゃくちゃの化け物みてえな顔をいつも思い出せたのかよ。そいつは最高だぜ。クソ親父のニヤニヤとした顔を思い出さなくていいんだからよ。最高だぜ、最高だぜ。でもよ、キリエさんの顔くらいは見た。キリエさんは悪党じゃねえ。たまにはムカつくと思ったけどよ、ちょいとかっこいい俺の姉気分だったお人じゃねえかよ。こりゃねえよ、こんなのってねえよ。クローズおじさんなんかまだマシじゃねえか。顔面じゃなくて側面だぜ。
Doesn't look that better, honestly, but okay.
He's not reasoning.
Just get Pillar here with the sound of their own screaming, trying to shut out my reckless words.
よすんだ、バタラ君。もうよすんだ。兄貴、兄貴。
Disregarding aged appearance, I fell to my knees, clinging to Aniki's waist and sobbing. It was as if I was crying on behalf of everyone there. Representing the feeling of everyone there, I screamed over and over. They're not gonna show anything?
They can't. it, I
Because of age restriction.
yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to say that in the anime they showed way more.
Oh, okay.
But there was a point in which it was so gory that even that had to be censored.
Oh, I see.
So they showed, but it was pixelated.
Yeah, censored. Yes, I see.
倒れているのはクラウスおじさん、ルドルフおじさん、キリエおばさんにローザおばさん、ゴーダさんで5人。
いや、6人や。
There we go.
ここにもう一人おる。
And who else could it be? Yeah, what Yoshi was looking down on happened to be hidden among the shadow in that mountain range of object, in a blind spot to George, who stood by the entrance. So George couldn't tell whose body it was. So George cursed himself. He cursed the fact that his worst guesses always turned out to be right.
じゃあ、お父さんの足元に倒れているのはシャノンなんだね。
ああ、シャノンちゃんや。
George felt completely silent. He looked slightly, his lower lip trembling. Normally, he would have wanted to run to his beloved body, screaming and crying. However, before rashly rushing forward, he worked to keep his composure and asked his father.
シャノンもクラウスおじさんたちと同じなのかな。
Hideyoshi deeply understood the meaning of those words, so he couldn't give George an immediate answer. Oh?
What just happened?
Ovi? You disappeared.
I'm here. I'm here. I don't know what happened. It's not the time.
Well, I'll read. Meantime, if something's gonna happen. I don't know.
No, wait. What?
What's up?
This is not the time.
Everything okay?
Yeah, for some reason everything crashed. You can join again, I think.
Oh,
But
okay,
this
wait.
is not the time.
I know, but it happens. Don't worry. Okay. Is it loading? Do you see me?
No.
Because I don't see you. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Okay.
He felt that silence was the only sincere and loving response he could give George right now. Journey asked if Shannon was the same. He meant to ask whether the corpse was in the same condition as the others or not. Since Hideyoshi had denied it, he meant the corpse was in the same brutal state. So maybe don't look at her. Maybe it's better if you don't.
いや、あかん。
どうして？だってもう二度とシャノンの顔を見られないんだよ。その最後の顔、どうして見たらいけないんだよ。
お前が最後にシャノンちゃんに会ったのは昨日か。
うん。
そうか。そのシャノンちゃんは別れ際にお前にどんな顔を見せたんや。
素敵な笑顔だったよ。
After he entered the ring, She hesitated even though she must have already made up her mind. Then she looked bashful and ran away because she was embarrassed to let him see her face looking like that. That expression was revived in George's mind.
そうか。ならシャノンちゃんもその笑顔をお前に残したいと願うはずや。
Yoshi looked down upon Shannon's body lying at its feet. Just like the other bodies, it was such in an honorable state that it made anyone want to cover their eyes. Her head had been smashed from the side, and no more than half her expression remained. If the remaining blood-soaked half of her expression had been wiped clean, would the graceful smile of her have been picked out? What the heck? Oop. Only half of it. Not thinking Yoshi slapped his hands over his eyes. How brutal. In her face was going... If her face was going to be crushed anyway, then if only all of it had been crushed, he might have been able to temporarily distract George from his pain by making the pathetic suggestion that it was someone else wearing Shannon clothes. But after her face has been left untouched. It caused the body so much humiliation, was still proving beyond doubt that the body was Shannon and no one else's. Probably on purpose at this point, I suppose. How inhuman, how brutish. And they are trying his best to burn the image of the remaining half of Shannon expressing to his eyes as she lay at Yoshi's feet was canon. Canon was not crying. Tears had risen to his eyes but did not drip down. But that didn't mean he wasn't feeling as much sadness as everyone else. Losing Shannon, who had lived with him in the same orphanage, whom had loved as a sister, must have been just the same as losing a blood relative.
ジョージ、シャノンちゃんはきっとありがとう言ってるぞ。お前に恥ずかしいところを見られとうなかったんや。きっとお前が耐えてくれたこと、感謝しとるで。
分かってる。分かってるよ、父さん。分かってるよ。
You're leaning against the outside wall of the storehouse, crouching down limply.
父さん、頼みがあるんだ。
なんや。
僕の代わりに見てほしいんだ。シャノンは指輪をつけてるかな。
指輪？ちょいと見てみる。
And the Yoshi crouched down. As he did, Salmon silently pointed to Shannon's hand.
ああ、あるで。こりゃダイヤの指輪や。クズダイヤとちゃう。なかなかの値打ちもんや。
I wonder who gave it to her.
どっちの手のどの指にあるのかな。
と、左手の薬指や。
Of course.
そっか。シャノンちゃん、婚約しとったんか。
They didn't know?
あなた、まさか。
エヴァ、今はそんなん関係ないで。シャノンちゃんは男に将来を約束されとったんや。一生を幸せにしちゃると男に言わせたい。それが誰かは問題とちゃうで。男にそこまで言わしめて、女の本懐やないか。いつこの指輪をもらったんかは知らん。誰が渡したかも知らん。だが。
Oh, it's saying this on purpose, definitely. Ofi?
Mm-hmm.
You asleep? Okay.
No, I'm not.
Oh,
シャノ
okay.
ンちゃんは指輪をもらえたんや。そして、それを受け入れ、左の薬指に通したんや。指輪を送った男も、きっと喜んだんとちゃうか？
Most of the people here, Hideyoshi was simply disturbed by this absurd situation, was blurting out nonsense. However, someone who knew George and Shannon's relationship would understand the full meaning of those words. He's definitely doing this on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
そっか。ありがとう、父さん。